Welcome back to today's episode. Today I chat with Michael Adams. Michael is the founder of Flying Kiwi Fitness, a brand that specializes in working with people with special needs and disabilities. Today's chat with Michael left me feeling inspired. Michael gives me big Steve Irwin vibes. When he talks about what he does, he talks with conviction and passion and high energy. He has created several programs that help his athletes enjoy fitter, healthier lives. He has created these programs to allow them to come together socially, to build a better community, and most of all, help his athletes feel like they belong. We talk about how he got into the industry, how he began to specialize in this specific field, and why he started these programs. It's a great listen and truly is inspiring. I challenge you to listen to this episode and not feel great after. So sit back and enjoy. All right, Michael Adams, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for coming in.
Dude,
so we're here to talk about Flying Kiwi in all things Michael Adams, which I'm excited about.
That sounds so ominous.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we'll start from the beginning a little bit in terms of PT career-wise.
Yeah, man.
So initially, actually, when did you first become PT?
Man, I started at Good Life Chermside February 2012. So I'm 12 years in now, which is wild to think. I've got such a baby face too. So everyone, and when they ask, well, how long have you been here? I'm like, 12 and a half years now. And they're like, what?
Were you 8?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Did your daddy bring you in?
Yeah. I actually started in the creche.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think, it's been 12 years. So I started, February 2012. I got the phone call from the then fitness director, Vanessa, and she was like, hey, I had done some group interviews in the January there, and they had picked out of 15 of us that applied, there was 2 that got picked. So me and a girl named Kalita, and got the job. It was pretty crazy. And actually, it's crazy, the same day I got the phone call from Vanessa, I was due to go into Domino's head office and sign a contract to become a full-time Domino's manager. Yeah, so, I'd been working at Domino's since I was in high school, and had finally moved up, shift runner and blah, blah, blah. And then, they were like, hey, we want you to be the manager of the new Paddington store, blah, 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 here's your contract. And I was like, yeah, sweet. And I got that phone call from Vanessa that morning, 8:30 in the morning. She's like, we'd like to offer you the job. I was like, sweet, what do I do about this? And this poor lady on the other end of the phone is like, I don't know. Can you do both? Yeah. And I was like, no, probably not. So sure enough, I went into head office and I was like, hey, I can't sign this, I'm sorry.
And I quit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I was just like, look, I can do shift running. I can do whatever else, because I knew I was going to need money. Because they were like, you have to start paying rent.
3 months.
And pretty much. Yeah. And well, actually, no. Now I think they were like, I just knew I wasn't going to make money. So back then it was the club trainer model.
Oh yeah.
Which was still popular.
An apprentice, basically.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So basically, instead of the current models like rent, obviously you pay the gym and then your client pays you, and that's it. Really, really clean. Whereas back then the club trainer model was, the clients pay for a personal training pack through the gym, and then we get a cut of that pack. So every time we sign off a pack, sign off a session, we sign it, the client signs it, and then we basically invoiced the PT manager at the time, and then they paid us in our pay cycle, which was
that's such a complicated process,
dude. Yeah, but I mean, it was good to start PTs, man. I didn't know what I was. I thought I did.
Yeah,
I thought I knew everything.
How old were you? 20?
I was 19.
Yeah,
I was 19. So I'm 32 now. Yeah, so 19. Yeah. I was fresh as in the gig, and but hey, they took the chance on me, and I guess I am now the senior most PT.
Yeah, you would be
at Good Life Chermside.
You must be the longest serving there, because all the others would have left, right?
Yeah, I'm the longest serving staff member out of everyone.
Yeah. So because I would have got there, you would have been there for a bit.
Yeah, I think you were 2017.
I was there with Foley.
2016.
I can't remember the years. I'm doing this for over 10.
Yeah,
I would have started maybe a year or 2 after you.
Yeah.
And then I was in it for a couple of years, then to Good Life, because Foley was FD and I was assistant FD.
That's right, and you stepped up after Foles, didn't you? Yeah. So Foley was FD when I was FD, and I was FD fitness director November 2014, I started
You got
there.
good memory.
That was when I started there, and then I was there for 18 months, almost precisely 18 months.
Yeah.
And then and
you went to
Foley
Castle
was
Rock.
FD there, and then he stayed FD for a bit,
Yeah.
and then like after I quit, and then you
Did I
stepped
take
up
your
after that.
job then? Or were
No,
you
because I was
full
at
FD?
Castledine.
Oh, you're at Castledine.
So I was at Good Life
Yeah,
Castledine
yeah.
while he was at Chermside, so we had to run a lot of stuff together.
Yeah.
And then I eventually left there because I started lecturing for Sage.
Oh, yeah.
After
That's right. I forgot we worked together at Sage.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah,
shit.
dude. Yeah, man. We were at both. Yeah, we were.
I fully
But
forgot.
like, yeah, you weren't. For some reason, I thought you were a student there, but you weren't a student. You were a fitness
I was
director.
a teacher. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, you were, because we were on opposing days, right?
Yeah.
So I only saw you. That was why, because I was the Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and you were Tuesday, Thursday.
I think I did Sundays.
Sundays.
Or every second Sunday or something.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Wild time. Oh,
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Thought it was just a good life.
I forgot
world,
about
yeah.
Sage. Was Sage in the building near the Christie Centre? Like
It
near the
was
square?
Ann Street.
Yeah.
And it was right out in the middle of the kind of like in the valley. Trying to.
Yeah.
Can't remember what that park was called, but yeah, right in the middle of the city there. And it was we were so lucky that in the evenings we could get free parking in there, because the guys who were there during the day were getting absolutely stomped with parking fees.
Yeah, see,
and
I
stuff,
just lived down the road then.
Oh right.
Yeah, I used to. What did I do? Oh, maybe it
Just
was
take
at
the hoodie
Auckland Flower. It's cool. Yeah. I either like trained it in from Auckland Flower, or I was living in the city. I can't remember.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But you were super close.
Yeah, there's no driving. City's
Yeah.
a nightmare for driving.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah, man.
You did, let's call it standard PT, like normal run-of-the-mill PT for a while.
Yeah.
And then when did the shift come to start working with people with disabilities?
That was like 2015. So I started my role as fitness director in 2014, and then a few months went past, and then like early 2015, we had like a teacher, Janine, come into the gym, and she was like, "Hey, we got a bunch of athletes, bunch of grade 12ers at the local special school at Aspley. They are there's 8 of them that we look after, and we just want to make sure that they like keep moving. Like they're not moving too much. We don't want them to get big after school and stuff. So we want to build healthy habits. Like, can we come into the gym and like learn to use a treadmill?" And the boss at the time, Sammy, was fantastic, and she was like, "Yeah, for sure, we'll forward you on to the fitness director." And I was like, "Oh, hey, like, I'm the guy."
Thanks.
And then back then, like I was like, "Man, I'm gonna train like the A League, and I'm like gonna train the Broncos."
Classic.
And so like I didn't even think about the idea of it. And then she basically was like, "Yeah, look, we'd love some help. Can we ever someone teach us how to push all the buttons on the PT and on the treadmills and stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." And I went to like the PT board that we had, and like not a single person like on the PT board had like a blue card or had like any sort of qualification ever.
Except for you.
Except for me. But I wasn't on the board, right? My job was as a fitness director was to make them busy. And so I wasn't on the board. I was like, I guess it's going to be me. And then, so like a week later or something like that, they all came down the gym, and like, I had 8 of the students all come down and just like teach them how to use a treadmill and how to use a bike and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, dude, this is sick. Like it was just so fun. It was like the most fulfilling like time coaching them to just like walk on a treadmill without like holding on for dear life, right? Like it was just so cool, man.
What made it so fulfilling?
It was just like, it's just like a different, it's like a different feeling in terms of like I was doing the Gen Pop kind of PT, right? And you'd be coaching someone, "Hey man, we need to work on your food and stuff." Because they'd come to you and be like, "Hey, my doctor said I need to lose 10 kilos, otherwise I'm going to die early." And you're like, "All right, we better stop the alcohol and partying, hey?" And then you coach off the 10 kilos. And then they're like, "Yes, I can go back to drinking." And you're kind of like, ah. Whereas like for the guys, like you're coaching them to like bend down safely to pick something up off the floor so that they can do stuff by themselves at home, and they feel a sense of like, I'm independent, right? Like you're literally coaching them life skills. Like a lot of the time, like PT is pretty simple when you think about it. Like it's, you know, you shouldn't be eating that McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right.
The same conversation every week with every client.
Yeah, man.
How's your diet this week? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, grand.
Well, I told you last week and I'll tell you again this week.
Yeah. One of the best sayings I heard is, look, I'm not going to get angry at you. I'm your accountant, not your father. I'll tell you how it is. I'm not here to make it nice. And that was like the kind of weight loss side of things. Like, absolutely, I had some brilliant clients like Gen Pop. But like, the sense of like accomplishment, the sense of everything when you were helping the athletes like kind of achieve stuff was just another level, man. So as I looked after them more, I had a couple of parents like approach me like, hey, like our young ones are coming to see you at the gym. Seems really cool. Like, can we do that in like another capacity? That was one of the guys, Brian, and Brian's son, Alex, and his best mate, Joe, were both in that first class. Like, can you kind of take them on 2-on-1? And I was like, sure. And it was like, I think I asked for like $50 an hour from in total.
Yeah.
And
did
so
you do it cheaper because because that's obviously way cheaper than what you normally charge.
Yeah, it was significantly cheaper.
Yeah,
I think at the time I was charging like $90 an hour.
Is that just to kind of do something nice, like to help them? Or?
Yeah, so like I grew a little bit fond of the guys, and like I just really felt a sense of like I really want to like this is super cool. Like I just that sense of like helping out, and whenever I saw them, I realized like my happiness per hour points were just like cranking.
Yeah.
Right? Like that session of the week, or it was 2 sessions a week when they were coming in. It was just the best. And so like I remember there was one spell actually where I think it was Alex's mum, Chris, kind of gave me a buzz like, hey, we really need that invoice from you to like pay you. And it had been like 7 weeks or something that I hadn't like sent an invoice because I just wasn't like the money just I was making money elsewhere for sure. Like I wasn't struggling for bills, but like for the most part, like there was not a part of me that was like, oh, I have to drag myself through this. I was like, shit, like Alex and Joe are in next, you know what I mean? And then so it was really cool, man. And they had very different funding. So like the NDIS is obviously huge in Australia now, and like is a major kind of like cornerstone of a lot of businesses. But back then, like NDIS wasn't in Queensland, so like it was like a couple of different places kind of supplied funding. It was all very unusual, and I had to like learn to make invoices. Like I had never made them before and stuff. And but like the guys, between the two of them had barely any funding, and so like even that was a bit of an adventure. You know what I mean? Like trying to sort all that out, and so like I knew they didn't have too much funding, but I was also just kind of happy to donate my time. Like it was just cool to have, man. Yeah.
So that was one of my questions actually, because NDS is rampant now. There's almost too much for happening. That's a whole different conversation as well.
Yeah.
But initially, like you're saying, it wasn't really around. Was it more difficult? Like, how did you build that client base up? Like, you trained those 2 boys, and then their parents or carers obviously spoke to other people at the school, and then they were like, "Oh, Michael's amazing," and it just kind of spread like that. Or how did it?
I guess so. I mean, like there was a bit of everything. So like the I can't remember if it was the end of 2015 or it might have been the end of 2015. The teacher Janine had came in and she was like, "Hey, I know you've been looking after the guys at the gym. We have a shed now built out we're going to get a shed built, at the school to save the guys, because they didn't have a van or a bus and stuff. They would walk from their school to the gym, and then we do the thing, and then they walk back, right? And so she was like, look, we're going to have this like gym built. Could you help us out with the designs and stuff so we can make sure it's like a decent floor space? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like with the guys you got, you probably want like 4 treadmills, 4 bikes, and some cables and whatever. And then she was like, yeah, cool. Like that sounds great. Like, you can help us out. We'll go sourcing some of the stuff. And she had said to us that they were going to start fundraising. And one of the guys I was working with had recently like shared a thing on Facebook, and it was like, this does circle into it. He had shared a thing on Facebook being like, hey, for every like, I'll do, for every like, I'll do a squat, and for every comment, I'll do 5 burpees or something.
I've done one of those.
Yeah. And so when I posted it, I was like, every squat, I'll do 50 kilos on my back. I'll put 50 kilos on my back, do your worst.
Yeah.
And like social media just me then can I swear? I don't even know if I can swear on this podcast, but sweet. And it got me. So it was like hundreds of people were kind of like commenting and like liking it, whatever, and that was like crazy to me. And one of the guys at the gym was like, dude, like you got a pretty big following, because I had been posting consistently with the guys, like with Alex and Joe, and like I think I had one other client back then, and he was like, man, you got a pretty good following, like you should use that. And I was like, I should use that. And I was in this like a business coaching kind of course at the time called Next Level, and they kind of like hooked me up with this guy that did some videos and things. So he came down, and his name's escaping me right now, but he came down and he helped us film it, like kind of this video.
Redhead dude?
Sean is his name. Sean Harmon was his name. He's a fantastic, just an absolute wizard. And he basically just came back and just goes, he came and helped us out. I was like, dude, the plan is I need to raise, knowing that I've got all these people here that are like, yelling at me to do squats. I want to raise $10,000 for these guys to have their own gym. 10 grand would work out to be 4 bikes and 4 treadmills for their gym.
Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, man, that sounds like a great idea. So he donated his time and, came and filmed me basically coaching the guys.
Yeah.
And so they were coming into the gym and they were doing their thing. And we filmed maybe a 2-minute video, and we put it out there, and the social media just like exploded. Like the popularity on it was huge. So we had like a big GoFundMe and all this sort of stuff. And so our social media traction just went from like me looking after like a few of the guys to like this huge ordeal where I was like, wow, that's a lot of people yelling at me to do squats. So I was like, all right, guys, here's day 1, 100 squats, 50 that. On my back. Yeah. And so I did the first 100 and like, I was like, oh, that's rough. And then I did the second 100 and I was just like posting them. And I had all these people like, dude, can I come and squat with you? Like, can I just help you do some? And I was like, that'll save my knees.
Yeah, and my back and my legs.
And my everything. And so the guys, so people started like putting their hands up. And so we ran like a big day where we just had a whole bunch of like gym members came along, and like some of the athletes at the time came along, and like it was just this whole thing. All these people came in to help out doing all these squats and stuff. And we ended up just like the GoFundMe started growing and our social media started growing. We had one of the business development managers of GoFundMe themselves donated $1,000. So GoFundMe themselves posted like, dude, this is so cool. Like fundraise for the guys, for the kids back then we called them because they were in school. Hey, we love this, go Michael and team. And so our social media just grew. And from that, I think the story of like, we just want to help athletes move, man, like that just started growing. Yeah. And so that was kind of like our first foray into like, oh, this is what social media is for.
How much did you end up raising?
$10,601 was what was on, like, we got like a comically sized check and like gave it to the school and like, it was super cool, man.
I think that also shows though as well, you probably wouldn't notice it, but like from the outside looking in, it's so obvious. Is like that is the community that you pull in. Yeah, like your behavior and personality and stuff draws people in, and then people want to get drawn into a good cause as well. So it's like everybody likes you, but you're also helping special school, building a shed or whatever. So it's like, it's a double whammy, like a good cause and a good person, and then it just shows when you put those two together. Like
maybe, I don't know about like following me per se. I think it's like, it's so weird because like, we started that and I was like, this is going to be great. Like, dude, we just fundraise for the school. I don't really feel like I've ever had people follow the stuff I do because it's me. I think that a lot of them just like to follow the idea. I don't think I do anything special, right? Like if I wasn't the fitness director at the time at that gym, I would have been trying to coach people at the A-League and trying to do, all this. I wouldn't have even found out about this world, right?
You still did all that. You're too modest to accept it. But like, you could have easily been like, oh, there's no one here to help you. I'll just help you out this one time. And then you didn't have to go and do the big charity drive,
But see, like, if you're just like an average person that like has like a heart, right? Like, there was a way I was explaining it to someone, and it was like when a 3-year-old walks up or a 2-year-old walks up and like hands you a plastic phone, right? I don't care how big you are and how gangster you are and whatever. The 2-year-old hands you a plastic phone and you go, hello, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you do it, right?
Yeah.
So like at the time, those athletes came in and, they're walking through the gym and they're like a little bit timid and you're like, it's okay, dude. Like, I believe in you. Like, you can do this. Yeah. And then, you start building friendships with them and, now they're holding your hand while they're walking through the gym and you're like, dude, like, you don't want to let that go. Like, everything has always just been for the athletes, right? And I near guarantee you, at least 50% of the population would have done the exact same thing to try and help the guys out at the time.
For
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, so many people would. Because like you just get emotionally drawn into helping the athletes rather than like, hey, this is just a gig, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? I think that the NDIS has unfortunately brought in a fair few people that are like, oh, there's like some money in this.
$60 an hour just to look after someone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I was doing it before it was cool at 50 an hour, and I was a happy dude, right? Like, and it was the coolest time. So, but that was like our first real like, real movement into the social media side of things. And that just, that really boosted us and started kind of firing away. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure it might have even been 2016 when we did it. Yeah. But it was just like that just shot us. And we really started getting known online for it.
Yeah.
And I tried, like, I got to post every day to Instagram, and back then that was enormous. Instagram
back
and Facebook.
When Instagram was new.
Yeah, that's right.
People used to just post their food.
Yeah. And it was crazy, man. Like, the volume of people that started following us for like what we were doing on Instagram. And I didn't even know how people would find us. So that was like,
power of the social media.
Yeah, man. We did a thing. I might have been 2017, I think. And I was like, hey, everyone, like, because I was curious, like, where are all these people coming from? I was like, hey, like, let us know where you are and, where you are in the world. And I'll draw a random person to like send out a t-shirt that had like, our Flying Kiwi logo on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, like, let us know where you are. And in the back of my head, I was like, tell you what, for every person that comments, I'll send them all a shirt. It'll be great. I might get to send like shirts to like maybe another country. And I had to buy 58 shirts or something dumb. And because I was like, I'll customize it, put their name on the back, and they can pick either blue or pink. And dude, it cost me I think about $2,000 at the end of it, like to get the shirts made individually, to get them printed. And then all the shipping costs. So we sent them to like, I still have some of them comment today, like, there's a young fella in New York that lives with Down syndrome. His parents were following me at the time. That's cool. So we gave him a shirt, and there's like this really cool, I have to find it, I'll send it to you. There's this really cool photo of the young fella getting off his school bus, like an American school bus, like the fucking Flying Kiwi logo on. Yeah. And I was like, that's us, man. And like people in the UK and like New Zealand, like, dude, it was so crazy, man. Some people in like Melbourne and Sydney couldn't believe it, man.
Yeah, that's so good, man.
Yeah, so like, that was like 2017, 2018, something like that. And back then my brain was like, I've made it, man. This is insane. Holy crap. So it was just so cool, man. And I think it was just around, as I say, like, I think it's just around the idea of like, hey man, everyone can move, right? Like, it was just so cool.
Yeah, well, that actually is a good segue, because my next question was, I'll read it so I don't get it wrong. Your business motto.
Okay.
Helping athletes with special needs live longer, stronger, more confident lives.
Yeah.
I think it's really powerful, because it's about like everything you've touched on before, right? Just getting them moving, getting them to do daily life and stuff like that. And when you talk about it, like I can hear the passion in your voice, which is great, dude. It's also super powerful, right? And it shows like why you've been doing it for so long. The question was, I guess, like, what do you love about working with these clients? But you've kind of touched on it. Like you get that gratification of
man.
Helping them and seeing them. That's one thing I think people, I don't know what the words you use here, not necessarily underestimate, but like, what about other people? But I'm guessing you're the same. One of the reasons you get into training is because you are actually helping people.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of shit trainers in for the wrong reasons and stuff like that, like any industry.
Yeah.
But there's something like, and it is a little bit selfish, where someone comes into you and you're like, I want to get this for my wedding, or even like revenge body from my body.
Yeah.
So many revenge bodies.
The breakup bod.
Yeah. But they come to you for whatever reason, right? I want to touch my toes and play with the kids.
Yeah.
And then you help them do that. And then they're like so grateful to you and you've changed their lives. And like it's selfish because you feel good about it, but you're helping someone along the way. So it's like less selfish.
And you got paid for it.
Yeah. I imagine it's that same vibe with these kids or adults, some of them.
100%.
But I kind of feel like it might be more rewarding, do you think? Because you've trained out both.
Yeah. I mean, like it's just humans helping humans, man. Like that's what it is, right? Like that's the entire PT industry. And you're helping someone who doesn't maybe have as much of an idea get more of an idea. And that's like the basis of like the most of it, right? Like, but I think it's also a sense of motivation, right? Like objectively, almost everyone knows if I ate less McDonald's, I think I could lose that weight. If I just avoided that ice cream I have every night, right? Like objectively, everyone knows that, eat less, move more is probably going to be the answer. But then it starts getting into the nitty gritty of like, well, actually, I just had like a really healthy smoothie for breakfast. And then you're like, tell me how much was in the smoothie. And they're like, well, I had banana, I had this, I put in protein powder. And then you like measure it all up and you're like, that thing's like 1,000 calories, right? Like you're only burning 1,500. And so like, I think objectively, like everyone knows how to do it. So I guess the sense of satisfaction can come from like educating as well. But man, like absolutely, when you help anyone achieve a goal and they get a sense of satisfaction from it, you get like a little slice. If it's like 100% buy, right? You get to mirror some of it and you get it, man. And I guess it just depends on like how emotionally invested you are as well, right? If this client you see once a week or once a fortnight, and you get like, you could do every bit of coaching. You could give them the plan. You could be like, hey, here is your workout plan. Here is your meal plan or whatever, if you're qualified to do it. And here is everything you need, right? And then they go away and you see them the next month and they've lost, 3 kilos, right? If you had someone that was coming in to see you every single day for that month, and at the end of it, they had lost 3 kilos, because of the volume of time you've spent with them, you're probably going to feel a bigger sense of significance because you've been more a part of that journey, right? You know them more, right? And so like, it just depends on what you're helping them achieve, right? Like I probably have a slightly closer relationship and like, good vibes with some of my clients versus others, purely on the sense of like, man, I've had Alex and Joe for 9 years now. We worked out the other day, we've had more than 1,000 sessions together. It's just absurd between Strong Hearts and PT.
1,000 hours at a minimum.
It's absurd, right? And like Strong Hearts is a 4-hour session. So like, it's even more, right?
Probably 1,200 hours.
That's right. And so like, that sense of satisfaction I get is like, not just, I have helped Joe deadlift like, 70 kilos or whatever. It's Joe used to hate the feeling of holding a bar and now he's deadlifting 90, right? Like, so the span of time I think also makes it huge. But I do wonder sometimes if like that sense of satisfaction would actually come from when you're coaching someone who is able-bodied and is of sound mind, and you're coaching them to get back to a place where they feel good. Sometimes you feel a sense of like, ugh, because you know that they put themselves in the bad spot in the first place. And you're trying to break down bad decision making that they've had and whatever, right? A lot of the guys I look after, man, they had no decision-making process. They got, this is exactly what they've got. So when we get them to a certain point, this is almost uncharted territory that they've never achieved before, right? Like I look after Alex P. The guy can't hold his breath. So when he deadlifts, you hear it go as he deadlifts, right? Because he doesn't know how to, he's never been underwater and needed to hold his breath, right? So like to get him to go from like, can you bend down and touch your toes? Okay, there's a start. All right, now we're going to grab this kettlebell off the floor and watch his spine be a spaghetti noodle, right? And now like, back. Yeah, that's right. And you know, now he's deadlifting 60 kilos. He still can't hold his breath, but we had to do all this other stuff to get him there. So the feeling of getting from A to B is just so different. So like, I think like, sure, I have a super satisfying job and I'll be 75 years old counting push-ups and singing the Wiggles at the same gym, right?
Yeah.
But, where was I going with that? Like, I think your sense of satisfaction comes from like how invested you are in the client as well as how invested they are in that journey too.
That's for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's some clients that less invested is the nice way to put it. There's also some clients that are energy vampires. And then there's some that you love.
Yeah, man.
To hang around and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've had to fire clients before.
Yeah.
You know, like
I imagine you probably wouldn't have to do that much now.
No, there was one. There was one. You know, it was just a sense of like, look, I don't think our ideals are going to work.
Yeah.
You know, and like, you know, I won't go into anything, but like, you know, you need to be able to, if you've got a client, you need to be able to have a level-headed conversation with them, right? When we've got a client, we need to have a level-headed conversation with their entire network to help decision-making processes. Yeah. And, you know, if that can't happen, then I can't do my job and help the athlete properly, right? Yeah. Like, objectively, eat less, move more, sure. But like trying to get it through the heads of some parents of like, you know, if I made this person run on a treadmill for the next hour, they would not burn off what you just gave them for breakfast.
Yeah.
So don't come in telling me like, they need to do more cardio because they need to lose this.
Man, who's feeding them? Yeah. That's tough because you're almost having to educate 3 people. Well, definitely 2, like the main carer or the 2 parents or whatever. Yeah. They probably need the most education, right? Because I imagine some of your athletes don't make those decisions. Some would, some don't.
Heaps of them don't. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and then there's like this whole other thing that we, you know, if we get into it, sure, but there's this whole other side of support work of you. Like it's called freedom of choice, basically. And there is one camp of support workers who obsessively want to make sure that their client has freedom of choice and decisions to do whatever they like, which I can 100%.
I already know where this is going.
Yeah, I can 100% understand that. They are human beings and you don't want to stop them from living their lives, right? Yeah. But then there's this other camp of support workers that are like, we like to give a couple of choices and help them make those choices. So they still have a choice, but we're just not staring them down a negative pathway, right?
Yeah.
The bit that I have gripe with is if we are truly delivering a service and we are, if you're a support worker, right? And you are truly delivering duty of care, at what stage does your duty of care for your client start to go out the window when you are actively allowing decisions that will shorten their lifespan by 10 years?
Yeah.
Right? Like there is a line somewhere and I don't think it gets talked about enough, man. Like, you know,
it's a complicated line.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. Because
you've got freedom of choice, but then it's like, well, some of them don't understand the choices that they're making. So if you're going to present them with McDonald's or a bowl of fruit, of course they're going to choose McDonald's.
Yeah, that's it.
Any 5-year-old would choose that as well.
Dude, most adults.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Times get tough. You're like, oh, I'll just drive and get Mickey D's.
Dude, yeah, man.
Yeah. So, but like presenting them with a bowl of oats, a fruit bowl, and some toast, it's like, well, there's choices there, but they're better than pancakes.
Dude, yeah, that's it. Yeah, they are good, yeah. So, yeah, like, it gets hard, man. Like, and so, yeah, you're not only, teaching the athlete if they have the capacity to learn, right? We've got some that, we've managed to teach, hey, I know you love your soft drink and I know you love your bottle of Coke, or bottle of Pepsi, but I think you're going to be even stronger and you're going to be able to lift even more if you can try and make sure that you drink that Pepsi Max for max muscles or whatever, however you spin it. And now we have multiple athletes that have avoided sugars in their soft drinks or whatever. And, say what you will about, I always get parents coming to, but that stuff's got aspartame and it's going to cause cancer and whatever.
Yeah.
But, like if that's the tipping point of, they're having 3 cans a day of that much sugar, which one do you think's going to be?
Basically having a bowl of sugar.
Yeah, right. Like, and, that's like, giving them a coffee and just going, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4. But the parents don't want to take that because they've been scared by media into thinking elsewise. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it does get really, really hard, man. Teaching duty of care as well as you can absolutely have freedom of choice. Just make sure that you can funnel healthy choices to be made.
Yeah,
I think is a much better way to go because, the reality is, I'm getting some coming in that are like, they went to Pub Group Friday and they ordered themselves 2 entrees, the main, which was like a garlic bread. This is a particular client. It was like a garlic bread and bowl of fries to start. And then it was the steak came out with fries and they had like a shake or whatever it was with it, right?
I was going to eat all that.
And, man, can hammer it, bro. A lot of the guys, they don't even properly get the signals of when they are full, right? So that actual
eat till they throw up.
I had one that this was maybe 7 months ago. He changed up his medication, and Mum came to me and was like, "I don't know what to do, Michael." We had a dinner party, like we had a couple of friends over, and he ate until he stood and threw up in the dining room.
It's a funny image to see your son.
And he was just and Mum just couldn't get him to stop, right? Because the medications and stuff that the guys are on, like some of them just can't help it, right? So I totally get it. Yeah, man. So some of the guys, they just don't have a sense, right? And so, but some of them, if you got your dinner plate and you changed the dinner plate to like a saucepan plate, and like suddenly it wasn't like as like a side plate or whatever, and you still filled that with like most of the regular food, a lot of the athletes, this is a big generalization here, but a lot of the athletes will go plate equals empty, Michael equals full.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that, right? Give them a teaspoon instead of a big spoon, right? All the classic PT
little
things.
hacks.
Yeah.
But
like a lot of the guys don't have that sense. They just go, oh, it's empty now. I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
I ate the whole thing. Goes the same the other way. You get them the triple XL, they'll keep on eating, bro. Yeah. And they'll be like, tummy sore. It's like, well, yeah, you ate 4 extra bits of chicken, right? Like, So it does get hard, man. But that freedom of choice, man, that's a really rough one to deal with because you're not just talking about like support work. Like you are talking about like people's ideals and people's like ways of life and their like full belief system of how they think the world should work, and trying to alter that to help a athlete not grab 5 cookies at Subway is like really hard, man.
And also you're talking to, once again, generally speaking, people who are probably 40 or 50 years old. So that's a lot of time for developed habits and
and education around that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the argument could be said for normal children, parents, and freedom of choice and all that stuff. That's a whole other conversation.
Man,
how much time you got?
That's it. Yeah, I think one of the craziest ads I've ever saw was there was one run by like Australian government or something, and it was like this ad of like it was a POV kind of thing of like someone was like sitting there eating like a bowl of chips, and then like they were explaining, oh, like this is just what I do when I'm stressed. And then like I went back 3 years to when they were in their teens, and it was like, oh, you know, this is what I do when I'm stressed. And it kept going back and still eating the bowl of chips. And then like it was like the person has like a baby, and the baby's sitting there crying, and the POV is looking up at mum, and mum just going, oh, stop crying, just have these chips.
Oh,
right?
Chips, yeah.
And so that was what, if I cry and eat chips, I feel better. Yeah. And that's just something that stayed with them for their life, right? Unlearning that, bro, so hard.
Yeah, it's 30 years
so hard. Yeah, dude.
Training, yeah.
And then you get parents that you are trying to educate around nutrition, and they are genuinely making the right choice. But now we're talking about quantity levels.
Yeah.
And a lack of understanding, you know what I mean? Yeah. Of like they genuinely want to help, and they really do want to help make those choices. And some of the guys have had crazy progress, but some of the parents just don't, and like support workers don't have that fundamental understanding of nutrition. Of if I make them run on the treadmill for an hour, it won't be the same as like you ordered them large fries on the weekend. Yeah, right. It's just not equitable.
It's just education as well.
Yeah, like it was like a year ago. My grandmother, she bought like a muffin. And she was with her friend. She was like, oh, me and Auntie Diane, we bought she's a Scottish, me and Auntie Diane, we bought a muffin. So we had to make sure we got our lap around the shops. Yeah. And I love my grandma. She is the best human. I love Gran. But there was a small part in the back of my brain that was like, you just ate like 800 calories.
You need to go for a 10K run.
Yeah, I know your muffins. They are like coated in butter, and you have your half strength cappuccino afterwards. Like, I love you, Gran, but you toddling through the mall is not going to be the same amount of calories as what you just ingested. Like,
but then also the same token, you're like, well, she's walking around the mall, so like it's a win.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because like the net win is if she doesn't keep walking, the health of her hips, of her bones, that will start degrading. So what do we want? Do we want to let her increase her calories so she can keep her bone density, right? Like, or do we want to take away the muffin so she sits at home? Fuck you, I don't want to walk. I don't want to walk. Yeah, it's hard, man.
Yeah, you got to take the wins where you can.
Dude, yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah. It's a rough fucking time, man.
Yeah. Do you need any extra quals? Like, obviously you need blue card, 'cause that's for children. Do you have, is there like, cert 2, 3, 4 in people with special needs or something like that?
There is like an NDIS course that you can do online. But for the most part, there is no actual certification requirement for you to be a personal trainer with athletes with disabilities. There's no like, let me put it this way. I had conceived an idea of coaching athletes overseas because we had all those people that were all around everywhere, and they, we got them t-shirts and stuff. In order for us to make a handbook of like, the average PT that wants to run an online program, right, we got an expert program. Here are the 5 different splits we give people, and here is the intermediate, and here is the beginner, and here is the novice program. And there are like just 20 pathways they can run. So they sat there on a laptop for 60 hours, and they wrote out all these programs meticulously, and you enter in a number, and it'll just project it all out. If I said to you, all right, we've got 2 athletes. They are both 17-year-old males living with autism. I can near guarantee you that the program that would work best for athlete A would be a polar opposite program in terms of habits and what they enjoy for athlete B. So there is no specific, I guess, handbook that would like teach you how to do it. The only thing you can really learn from a qualification, if that ever did exist, would be here's how you communicate.
That's more what I was thinking.
Yeah, here is best practices of, if you're trying to work alongside other support workers, here is how to work with allied health professionals. Here is how to blah, 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 blah. But like the actual
do's and don'ts, really.
Yeah, man, yeah. And I guess that would be the number one thing would be, all of the auxiliary things around the training, but the actual things of training, you're just going to learn from being a PT. You need to be able to learn to scale up. You need to be able to scale really, really far down.
The king of progression.
Dude, I am the king of regression. I most recently, in the past, probably like a year, I've had a few athletes that are very much just learning to move their body.
Yeah,
and so like one of the major ones I have started is like helping some of the athletes learn a leg curl. And like I am giving them gravity assisted leg curls while lying down.
So just learning how to literally curl that leg up.
Literally not letting your quad beat gravity so your leg goes down. That's the level it's at, right? Because some of the athletes living with heavy cerebral palsy and stuff. And then, so they've got to learn to go from here, pull their own leg down with gravity helping them. And I'm kind of giving like a little bit of an assist, right? So like I am getting to be the king of regression because I've just got to pull it so far back. And I know that physios and stuff know way more than me. Like I'm not saying I am that guy, but like the probably biggest thing I have learned in the past probably year is the volume of more difficult clientele that I've had to start taking on. I say difficult in terms of the volume of like overlapping conditions that we are all having to deal with at once. And trying to just find things that work and trying to give them that little sense of progression, right? So like, you know, sitting on a bench and just having their foot come underneath the bench is a hammy curl. At some stage for someone that is going to be a set of 12 is like, oh, my hammy's curl. You know, it's going.
Yeah, so, actually, that's a good point. I think people often forget about that. Like most people would probably just think, like, coming back from injury or maybe like your nan where you like help her up and down the chair. But like some of these athletes that you're working with, just moving normally is a challenge for them. So like that is training.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, pick that stick up off the floor, move your leg back to your bum. Like,
dude, that's it, man. Yeah. And
like what we would consider warm-ups would even be sometimes too much for them.
Oh, far too much. I have one of the athletes I'm looking after at the moment, Kelly. She lives with cerebral palsy, and getting her to move backwards is currently impossible. She cannot, so she'll use a walking frame, heavy cerebral palsy, in a wheelchair all the time, but can use a walker, brace herself upright, and like walk herself forward really, really slowly, right? But at the moment, doesn't have the hip flexor extension at that joint in order to step her foot backwards. So she actually rotates her hips to step a toe to the right and then will wriggle herself around to rotate her hip back around this way. Doesn't have the dorsal rotation to do it either. So it's all entire body movement to slowly shuffle herself backwards, right? That's her level of walking backwards. You think about the amount of things you need to work on, right? You get the average person in the gym and you go, hold my hands, you're going to be okay. And you can probably get them to walk backwards. Right? So there's so many things to do. So coming back around to like, you know, if there's quals and stuff, like it's just being a PT, but it's just having that extra level of care, I guess. But there's no like hoops you have to jump for aside from things like blue card, yellow card here in Australia. And then, NDIS as a whole, just like either getting NDIS, what's it called? Becoming an NDIS supplier or whatever. The NDIS provider, that's the word. Registration. Registration and stuff. Like, but outside of that, there's no real, like, you have to have, it's not like a PT where you can't operate in Australia without a Cert 4, right? Like, it's just, you're a PT.
I would have thought maybe for sure there would have been, like, I guess it's probably a lost field. Like, what I would have thought maybe would be, like, more of do's and don'ts in terms of, like, this is the correct way to handle people with autism because, you know, this might trigger attack or cerebral palsy. It's like, you can't do this because their body will limit them and stuff like that. Like maybe brackets of like people prefer to train this way not prefer. Their body will allow them to do this with this condition. Their body will allow them to do this with this condition.
I mean,
but is it too broad for each condition?
It's still probably too broad. Man. Like, I mean, like we go to cerebral palsy, right? I've got Mr. Jonathan. large lad, lovely human. We love him to absolute pieces. And he lives with cerebral palsy, among other things. But his cerebral palsy mostly just affects him in the left hand. And it's only for kind of like grip strength, right?
Yeah.
His cerebral palsy, I have him deadlifting and rowing and overhead pressing and everything like that. Kelly also has cerebral palsy. On paper, they both have cerebral palsy listed in their NDIS plan.
Yeah.
But what these specialists and the physiotherapists and the psychologists and everyone, all those specialized people have jotted down in their notes are vastly different human beings. So it's a case of like, you know, the actual breakdown of the myelinated sheet and da-da-da-da-da, like that's what cerebral palsy does, or I'm pretty sure now I'm going to get fact checked online now. But like the breakdown of those messages from brain to body, right? That is cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
But affected in these two athletes is vastly different. So like for John, he can still move his hand. It's just that a little bit more robotic and like a little bit more shaky. But as we have improved and worked through those ranges of motion, he has gotten better and better. Whereas for Kelly, instead of us trying to strengthen her, we're actually just trying to get her through those ranges of motion. So I spend 20 minutes, half an hour, actually stretching her through ranges of motion in her hips so she can sit better and stand better when she is like, you know, having to utilize a shower or use a walker or get up and down, whatever, right?
Just also stop her from deteriorating more.
Yeah, that's it,
like
man.
A preventative measure.
Yeah, like, I mean, I have a young one I look after that has a frozen shoulder. She is so left-handed, I call her extra left-handed, that she now can't raise her right elbow above her head. Like above her like shoulder, like it gets to here, that's it. Like the range is, that's what she tries to do. Whereas this arm is Olympic swimmer. Right? And so, vastly different. And it's not because of any lack of shoulder mobility or anything. It's just she's just used her left hand so much that doesn't use the right. And so, it becomes really hard for her to move. So, like, that wasn't even condition-based. That was, like, decision-making based that over time
became autonomy.
That's it. So, you know, like, give me a high five. Not that hand. I'll make her use her right hand. So, there's so many things, man. So, like, if you were to, I would love to build a course and help coach other coaches to do the thing. There's a lot of
I definitely think there's something in there.
For sure. There's plenty out there.
Is there?
There's a few. Yeah. I've been pointed to a few. I guess there is a small part of me that would want to do it my way. Yeah. Absolutely. I'd love to be able to do that.
Well, you've been doing it for so long now. You are almost, for lack of a better word, an expert yourself. Like, expert's the wrong word, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I
have experience in
comparing
different
you
conditions.
and I, you walked up, like, I don't know barely anything in that particular field, you know what I mean? Whereas you have dozens, hundreds of clients, or dealt with hundreds of clients, and you know, like, this, and stuff.
I guess, there'd be, it's something I would love to work on, but in my finite resources I do have, I do not believe that is currently the best use of my time.
No.
I think, like, overall, like, there was, like, a thing by, like, Gary Vee where, like, I'd love to help more people. I just want to help more athletes. That's it. The goal of the business is just help more athletes live healthier, stronger, longer, more confident lives. The thing with that would be, like, would I prefer to have my small team that I do have now deliver a, you know, for lack of a better term, make it easy, a 10 out of 10 service. We have 8 of us, 7 are client facing, you know, and therefore if 7 of us are delivering 10 out of 10 points, we are putting 70 points into the world every single week.
Yeah.
The theory would go that if I can coach 100 coaches, and even if there are only like 6 points out of 10, we are now putting 600 points out to the world every single week. That sounds like heaps good, right? Net positive, like, that's really good. So it's definitely something I'd love to focus on and actually have out there. But, like, franchising and, like, dude, there's so many things that are like avenues. And I have people approach me like, hey, like, how would you feel about franchising stuff? You know, the brand, and we use the da-da-da. I'm just like, counting push-ups and singing the wiggles, man. That's what we're doing, right? Like, just care about your client, and that's it. So like, I guess, I guess you're right. Like, in terms of running a course, it's much more of like do's and don'ts. Like, hey, when you've got an athlete that is presenting with this, probably don't do this. When it comes to all the physical stuff, but the intellectual stuff, every single one is going to have a different behavior management plan, a different
it's big scale, isn't it?
Yeah, dude. You have some of them that need direct eye contact of, I need you to stop that now. We're going to go do this. And they go, whoop, like a robot, and they wander over. But if you go at another one and said, I need you to stop this now. We're going to go do this. They're going to be like, I'm going to headbutt you now.
And that's just a pure personality thing.
Dude, that's it, man.
Chemistry thing.
Yeah, and that's it. And every single one is different, right? Like, one athlete looked after, gave himself an acquired brain injury from putting his own head through stuff. Right? Like, that happens. Like...
I mean, it happens to able-bodied.
Yeah, but he was doing it out of choice, right? And it was just behavior at the time. Was like, no, F this, I'm doing this, right? And to feel a sense of something, right? Like, so there is like some really, really dark stuff in there that, like, if I put a course out, feel like, Michael told me to do this and now he's putting his head through a wall. What do I do now, right? So, there's
Where's this in the manual?
Yeah, that's right.
Page 47?
Yeah. Oh, put foam on the wall. I should have done that earlier. But like, it is hard, man. There's no such thing as like here is exactly what is right and wrong before you meet the client. Because once you meet the client, once you understand what their support network is like, once you understand the, like what their extended network is required to do in order to help that athlete live the best life that they can, that's when you can start making better decisions. It's not going to be from... Here's the manual for with a kid, 15 years old, male, autism with cerebral palsy. We're doing a lat pull down on week 3.
Yeah, not a chance.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work like that. I wish it did. It would make my life a lot easier.
So much easier,
Yeah, but then I'd probably not enjoy the job, right?
That's right. It'd be almost like doing normal PT. You just follow a program and
Yeah, man.
All right, we probably should have discussed this at the start, but let's run through like all your programs and initiatives because there's a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, everything we've been speaking about for the last half an hour, whatever it's been, has been pretty much the Flying Kiwi coaching program, basically.
Yeah, I guess the one-to-one stuff.
One-on-one stuff, yeah. Yeah, we pretty much covered the Flying Kiwi coaching program, which is all your one-on-one stuff.
Yep.
You do that. You kind of give them homework a little bit, talk to their
somewhat homework,
guardians, education, all that sort of stuff. Then you've got the Flying Kiwi Cup.
Yes.
Do you still do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Maybe I won't do it justice. Yeah, you like I know what it is, but give me the spiel or give the audience the spiel of what Flying Kiwi Cup is.
Okay, our Flying Kiwi Cup is. Essentially, it's our platform for the athletes to feel a sense of confidence and to show all of their friends, family, support network, everyone around them how strong they become in the gym. And it's kind of became this twofold process where basically we hire out, we now get to operate in Broadbeach Mall. We set up a huge stage. We have DJ going, we have like all of these helpers all come in for this huge day, and all of the athletes basically become stars, and they all just get to be like these athletes on the day that are like lifting some of their biggest lifts they can do, bench press and deadlift, and it's just a big powerlifting competition. And our job on that day is to make them feel a sense of confidence, to show that they are progressing, but it also gives them a sense of like why we are training. Because a lot of the guys, they attend the gym and we, like, there was a reason that we did start it, but what we have found over time is if we've got the guys coming into the gym and they're like, Michael, don't want to. No. Do you want to do deadlifts today? No. Do you want to jump on the bike? No. If we
Motivation,
go,
right?
if
There's
we
no
go,
goal.
hey, we've only got 9 weeks until the Flying Kiwi Cup. We got to make sure we do our exercises so we're super strong. We've got to do our deadlifts so we can get our medal. And we can be on the camera and we can show everyone how strong we are. Almost every time, without fail. Yeah. Little Joe goes, hell yeah, let's go, right? And if they've done it before, they know what that felt like. Like Queen Street Mall last year, we had 49 athletes. I think we had 35 volunteers, 9 staff members, videographer, photographer, DJ, medic. And so it was a huge operation. Yeah, it was just insane.
Because I think I saw the 2021 one in the
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was sick. Like you had, for those like, it's like they had a proper stage set up in the middle of the Queen Street Mall.
That's right, yeah.
And athletes, it was like a proper show, like almost going like an IBF.
Yeah,
show.
Yeah, that's right.
But in the mall with people with special needs doing powerlifting. It was sick. And then I've seen heaps of videos and stuff. Watching the athletes and the community and stuff, it's similar to normal powerlifting, but there's something different about it. Like you watched old mate do a deadlift.
Yep.
And then everybody was such a hype
gets
crew.
around them.
And then you can see it in their face. They're like, fuck yeah, I did it. And like it was really powerful, man. I loved it.
Yeah, I guess that's the whole thing, right? Like we get as much of a network together as we can to make sure all the athletes are looked after. They're like they're watered up. They've warmed up properly. We have all these systems in place now. It's crazy. I can go through how it all started, but basically, like once they get to the platform and they're up there with their coach, we've got hundreds of people are now walking past in the mall. We have access to almost every gym in Brisbane. If we said, hey, we do this thing, we get people offering us their places all the time. We actually avoid using a gym because the whole idea is that we get the general public not only understanding, hey, a whole bunch of the athletes that utilize the NDIS are capable of so much more than what you thought they were. But also when the guys are lifting, having just crowds and crowds of people when Joe steps up and does a 90 kilo deadlift. The average person doing a 90 kilo deadlift may not be too, like impressive. But when they're in the mall and we've got 40 people screaming to Joe, up, and he gets to the top and he locks it out. And then there are hundreds of people like, whoa, they're cheering on. The music's cranking, the photographer's going, the videographer's moving. Joe feels like a fucking superhero, right? He thinks he owns the goddamn planet and he throws the bar down and he puts his hands up and he cheers and he's just feeling like an absolute animal. And then for the next year, we can make sure that Joe continues to live a healthier, stronger, longer, more confident life because he goes, I want to go lift at that thing again.
Why wouldn't you? Like, I'd want to do that.
Yeah. Like, dude, it's the best time, dude.
Like, I've played sport in front of crowds, and you can't beat it.
Dude, so good.
For these guys as well, like, lifting a PB in front of everybody in the mall, that's a big, like, confidence boost, ego boost.
That's it, man.
Happiness, all the things boost. Happiness.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, it's actually, genius the way you worded it before in a sense that it does all those things, which is amazing, but you've also now got a goal for the next 12
That's it.
Whatever it is. So you can dangle that carrot every time when they come in and don't have the motivation. You can go, hey, remember that thing?
Yeah. So we have like these rules for our guys that come in and help film and photographer, right? So Neil and Matt, fantastic. They've been with us for like years now, and every time they're like, hey, give us the date so we can make sure we're at the next cup. So like they book out for us, right? It's so good. But like Neil will get a photo of every single bench press and every single deadlift by every single athlete. And then at the end, he makes sure he gets like warm-ups and all that sort of stuff as well. So like the guys, interacting with the volunteers, what we call them, the helping hands, they're fantastic, all the volunteers that come along. But what that does for us is when the competition's all over and we give them the big medal, we get these they now get made, they're like plate steel, like laser cut plate steel, the Flying Kiwi and stuff. So cool. But like this big hefty thing that the guys are like, oh, this is cool, right? And we go, every single athlete comes out because they have gone up there and they've worked hard and they did the thing. Every athlete gets an award. They get up there, they get their award, pop it on them, they get a photo with the photographer. And for the next year, because it takes about a couple of weeks, the photos come out and that's it for the next year. I still get notifications from some of the athletes. They go back and they unlike and re-like the photo of themselves on the platform, right? Like, they love it. Like, if they're able to scroll social media, which a lot of them are, they go check out all their photos and, so it's so cool.
It's a big moment for them.
Yeah, that's it. And so, they're going home and they see they've got their medal sitting on their desk. I get photos from parents sometimes, and it's like their photo of them like on the platform, like getting their medal, or it's one with one of their coaches, right? Because we have a big team now, which is cool. But that medal's there, right? And so when they come to the gym and they don't want to do stuff, bro, instantly we just bring up that previous happy feeling of we just want to. So one of the big things me and all the coaches talk about, rule 0 is safe, but rule 1 is we make exercise equal happy. That's it. Make exercise equal happy. I don't care if you sit with your client for the next hour and you just sit knee to knee and all you do is talk about rugby. I don't know. As long as every time the athlete leaves the gym, they have a smile on their face, I'm going to be happy with you as a coach and I'll pay you. Don't care. Because all we're trying to do is not the next year, but in 10 years' time, when that athlete has nothing to do with us, when they are out and about, they're going and doing their own work thing and they've got a completely different set of support workers, they're in a different city, right? We want them to go out. If they have a crappy day at work or a crappy day at their program, whatever, and they come home, we want them to go, oh, I'm upset. What makes me happy? Oh, that's right. I used to go to the gym and the gym used to make me happy. So they go from making a destructive decision of wanting to go and eat KFC or Macca's or whatever to a constructive decision where they go and exercise and get that endorphin rush and they feel good, right? And we are not aiming for the now. We're aiming for the in 10 years' time. We want them to make a constructive decision about their health. That's when we get to have that long-lasting, change where they live a healthier, longer life. It's because they're making those more positive choices. So by having the cup and having them affiliate, when I do exercise, I'm earning my medal and my clap from everyone. They get that sense of, I want to go to the gym and I want to keep being healthy, right? That's the major thing I think it really solves for. And whenever myself and team manager Sammy, she's fantastic, literally just holds up our entire program. Whenever we talk about it, it's always just about oh man, how can we make it better for the athletes? What can we do better for the athlete? She's came out with goodie bags and we've got apparel and we've got we're giving out wristbands and we get all this stuff. All of it is so the athletes just feel like superstars, man, because we want them to associate exercise with happy. And in 10 years' time, when they've got nothing to do with us, they still want to go exercise. That's the dub for us. That's what we want, right?
Who thought of that?
The competitions. It was me.
Nice.
As a long story short, we basically had a few of the guys were starting to deadlift and bench press, and they were getting hella strong. And I remember one of the guys, one of the PTs at Castle at the time was are they going to do the Special Olympics or whatever? And I was I never really thought of that. And at the time, I don't know classifications and stuff, but basically a few of the guys that we had, if they went to the World Special Olympic Games for powerlifting, they would have podiumed.
Yeah.
And we're just deadlifting at a gym in Castle, right? And because I have a background, I had at this stage, I had competed at a national level for powerlifting. And so I'm just coaching my guys hey man, we need to do this, flat back, and here's the accessory to do whatever. But suddenly I was just creating these beasts that were and it was crazy. And some of them who were super stout, young Jessica was deadlifting 85, 90 kilos at 56 kilos body weight, right? Yeah, so it's already looking impressive. And so basically I called, I got in touch with Special Olympics. I was hey, got a few guys. We want to qualify for the World Special Olympic Games. I know you have a state titles or whatever coming up. Can we go to the World Games? Here's the numbers, whatever. And basically the response back we got was, look, no, sorry. Because in order to make it to the World Special Olympic Games, you have to qualify by being in the National Games, National Special Olympic Games. To be in the National Games, you have to be at your state games. To be at state games, you got to do a local kind of thing.
So you're the new local.
And so we had to go to a local Special Olympics meet, but there were no Special Olympic meets. So Special O powerlifting was big in Europe, big in America. They even had it in New Zealand. Didn't exist in Australia. And so I was like, oh, so there's no competition. They're like, no, unfortunately, you can't get an Australian jacket unless you have competed at the nationals. But because there's no state, and they don't exist, there was none. And so I was like, okay, well, like, this is great. And so, I was like, oh, maybe do I do this? Do I do that? And eventually I was like, screw it. I'll just run a novice meet, because back then in powerlifting, there was like, there was Buster Nut, which was like the one at the Valhalla Strength and stuff. And I had done that a few times. I was like, man, I'll just run my own comp. I got like 12 guys run a competition. Like, it'll be fun. Yeah. So I asked like a bunch of my powerlifting friends, hey, like, can you guys all come along? I'm going to do this thing called like the Flying Kiwi Cup. It's just going to be to get the guys moving. We want them to compete. They can't. Yeah. We're just going to hold a meet. And it just ended up being like from this like, out of just random idea to just being like the sickest day of my life. Like, it was only me warming up all of the guys. And so for the 12 weeks prior, I'd asked like all these who are like still ridiculous powerlifters to this day, but I had basically sat there and filmed a video with, like, for example, young Jessica was training with Lily Riley, who's now like the #1 powerlifter and like female powerlifter in Australia. And at the time I was like, hey Lily, I'm here with Jess. We're just doing our warm-ups. When we do it, all we prompt is we want bum down and we want our chin up nice and tall and our hair up tall before we lift it, and we got to hold 3 seconds before we go down. And it was just like this little instructional of like, hey, here's how we warm up, Jess. And I did that for all 12 of them, for the 12 different powerlifters that was coming along to be their buddy for the day. And then, we all just kind of like went to Valhalla, and they were like, yeah, man, you can, like, Scott Wasson and Tish were there, and they're like, dude, totally, like, come run a meet. Like, they helped us move all the equipment and stuff. And we just had this like 12-person meet, and like we had ran this day, and all these people were there, and all the parents are cheering on, and support workers and stuff. Became huge. And then we basically like finished up the day, and I was like, that was so sick. Like, thank you all for coming. We had like all these referees there. And the referees were literally just sitting there with remotes. And it didn't even matter if they locked out the deadlift or not. The referee, I remember her name was Beck, she'd just sit there and she'd go, white light, like, which means good lift. Every time, right? Didn't matter, right? It wasn't a sanctioned meet or whatever. But it was so that the lights went on, so everyone, yay! And got to the end of the day, and everyone was like, hey, Michael, when's the next one? And I was like, what are you talking about, next one? That was the cup, finished. But like, it was just such a sick day. I was like, man, run a few more of these. And then I actually ended up having Special Olympics get in touch with us like a few weeks later, like, hey, we saw that thing you ran. You want to start powerlifting here? And so they had me try and start coordinating Special O powerlifting. So did that for a little bit. It was very difficult. There's a lot of like politics and moving parts. And I think they just made it.
It's probably a lot of red tape when you start dealing with Olympic things and government things.
Yeah, it was very difficult. And so we ended up I ended up not really going very far with that, but we had like a state level meet where I had a whole bunch of our guys come along. I think there was 17, 18 athletes or something at this like local meet. And then it turned out that like the powerlifting provider at the time, the APU, they were meant to be like the sanctioned meet providers of the Special Olympics. And so we're like, well, we've got to go to an APU meet, a state APU meet, in order to make it into the Special Olympics. And the long story short is the APU had a Special Olympics division, but that wasn't the Special Olympics. And so that meet didn't actually count. And so we had pulled our 14 athletes all the way to the Sunshine Coast for a nothing burger.
No reason.
And so we all got there, we all had to do our weigh-ins, and we all did whatever, and like, we're all up there. And the guys all had a great time, like, I'm not taking away from it, but there was literally no point. And so like, that was super frustrating. And then eventually they had a state games, so the Special Olympic state games. We did the state games, and then like, we finally done, okay, cool, we've done a state games. And they're like, all right, no worries. Unfortunately, there are no other states doing this, and so you can't be at a national games because
you didn't automatically be national then. No one else joined up,
right? And so so it ended up falling apart, and so we didn't end up having it. So just really, really frustrating. But through all that time, my idea was the Flying Kiwi Cup would be the novice meet, and then the state titles, national titles would be like the next levels up, right?
Yeah.
And after they kicked me out of my seat in Special Olympics, nothing really went anywhere. And I don't actually think no
one's driving it.
Yeah,
there's
that's
nothing before you, and then
and then there was nothing. Like, they were still trying to push it, and there's still absolutely athletes living with special needs that compete in the Special Olympic kind of things, but there's no like real competition. We essentially are the competition. So like, we had 49 athletes in November all together. At the state titles we had 17. and 14 of them were Flying Kiwi athletes.
How do you fund the Kiwi Cup? Is there like an entry fee? Because obviously you've got to pay to use them all, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we kind of...
And then you've got like...
Yeah.
Is most of it just volunteers and donations?
We kind of pay for it ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, so the athletes pay nothing.
Yeah.
All the volunteers come along off their own back. And then as of last year, the year before, I think we started like sponsorships. But it was all pretty much just us.
Yeah. Is it a lot? Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
Fair amount of coin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like photographer, videographer, DJ, truck hire, equipment, a personalized shirt for every athlete that comes along, a shirt for every volunteer. Food, water,
there's 10K
chairs.
Yeah.
It's a fair whack.
Yeah.
So like, and I didn't care. Like, all of our guys now had somewhere to aim for. Like that to me is such a brilliant expense because now we've got so many of the athletes, like not all of them do powerlifting, right? But we've now got so many of the athletes are doing like positive things and they're like moving towards something every single session, right? So now we've got that motivator there. And they're kind of doing the thing, right? And so like it's just absolutely such a good experience. And now we've like networked it. So now we have like other coaches come along. They bring along their own clients, and now their own clients are joining like our other programs because they like being a part of it. And you know, so it's super cool, man. Like absolutely, it's an expense for us, but yeah, like it's
worth it.
It's so worth it, man. And like every cup day, all my coaches all come together, and we all like go in together, and we're all at silly o'clock, our friends at Valhalla Strength on the south side, they give all of their equipment to us. And we just like get this big ass truck. We're there at stupid o'clock.
Yeah, setting up.
Loading up this truck in the middle of Rockley. And we're all in there, but everyone's there. And everyone's just like G'ing up. They're all like, fuck yeah, it's cup day, man. Like, and then we get in there and the day just blows us away every single time, and like the guys all have a blast. We're giving out medals and trophies and photos everywhere, and we've had like 7 News come along, and like we've had ABC come along, and like, dude, it's just so good. The guys just feel like celebrities, bro.
Yeah,
and
they
like
must froth it.
Yeah, man, it's so good, dude. So and like all the coaches love it, and all the other coaches who come along with their own clients love to be there, and dude, it's just so
let anyone
cool.
like say if I coach Bob. You let me bring Bob down.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, man, and it won't cost you a dime. Bob will get his shirt. He'll get his athlete bag. Yeah. He'll be there. He can grab all the water out. Like, there is no cost to athletes at all. I do not want money to ever be a factor for any athlete or support worker who comes along. Yeah, that will never be a thing. It's the same with our formal. Our Flying Kiwi formal that we hold for the guys. Oh, right, yeah.
Don't worry, baby. I've got all the initiatives in here.
Yeah, but yeah, I never want money to come between the athletes and a good time, basically. And so, so we cover all those costs. And, you know, last year we had a huge amount, like, you know, we had put in, 5 years worth of the cup. And so last year was probably the closest we've ever come to breaking even on the cup. We still lost a bit of money, but like for the most part, we had so many
sponsors.
Yeah, from sponsors. Yeah. So basically, we're like, hey guys, we're looking for instead of us just asking local businesses or like asking people we knew. Yeah. We actually put like a thing out, and we had all these people like, yeah, man, I'll do it, and we had like every sponsorship spot basically taken. Yeah. So that was pretty wild. It's a lot of management, but like to not have it come out of Flying Kiwi pocket. Yeah. For the most part, was actually like super relieving, and it just meant we got to do more. So like, Sammy got these like custom wristbands, and like all the shirts had like all the logos on it, and all the guys had athlete on the back, and we had like the laser cut like things were like the first time we got that, we got them like bigger, and like. Cool. Just it was just so good to just be able to give so much, run things like a live stream. Like a major thing I'd love is we can get like a proper like televised live stream, like television style live stream where there's multiple cameras. It's not just my sister walking around with a TikTok
on the mic stand.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
tripod.
So it's actually like they come in with a crew of like 5, and they've got like a roving cam, they've got like steady cam, dude. That would be dope. Because you imagine how good the guys would feel.
Do you know what would be cool?
You know what I mean?
Is hitting up, back to our convo off air, the like some uni student, be like, hey, you want to do a project? Make a doco about my Kiwi Cup. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Kiwi Cup doco.
Yeah. We have been approached a couple of times about an idea of a doco or whatever. It's never really gone anywhere. But that was a while ago now. Maybe there's something there. That'd be pretty cool.
Super interesting.
Imagine
like
cool.
all the build up, like little one-on-ones with like,
with the athletes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. They'd froth it. And then you build up to the big climax of the meet.
Yeah.
And that'd be I reckon I'd cry watching that. I reckon I would, man. Because you'd get attached to them. You're like, I like the boys. And you'd be like, I've had these guys for 9 years. And then, yeah, you can write that down.
You know what? That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. Someone contact Netflix for us. That'd be a sponsor, right? Yeah. Dude, it's
that'd be fucking good, man.
It'd be cool, man. And I just want to give the best experience for the guys. Like, I mean, you imagine if we can get that idea of like proper televised looking version of like, on YouTube of the guys zoomed in, they're sitting on the platform. They're like, they're in the like sideline, they're ready to go. They're geeing up and like, you can see there's a smaller cam, like watching the spotters, and all the spotters and loaders are all my friends as well. So like I've got all my mates like Andy and Steve, right? I literally trained with them today. They're there in these like hot pink shirts with like Andy and Steve on the back. They're loading barbells for like 5 hours and they're just juice, sweat down the back. They don't care. Every single rep. Andy, you see in the photos, like, yeah. Steve's like, woo. Like, they're just cheering the guys on, right? Everyone just gets so around them. But I just love, like, the better the quality of film we can get of the guys and the more that they can watch themselves back, the more they can refer back and go, I loved that time when I was exercising. I felt really, really good, right? Like
100%.
Oh, man. Dude, it'd be so cool. So I think that's the next big expense. If we can get enough sponsors for this year, if anyone's watching, we're looking for sponsors. But if we can get enough sponsors this year, I think that would be the next biggest thing. It would cost us
a little bit more.
Another $3,000 to $5,000 probably to get like the really good quality stuff that I'd love to have because we've had quotes before. And just gone, that's a bit too much. But baby steps. Yeah, that's it. So it's just anything that just makes the guys really feel a part of something big. Yeah. And we want them to make them feel like they're a part of something. You know what I mean? That's the major thing. Everybody
wants to be part of a community.
Yeah, man. That's what our Strong Hearts program is for. That's kind of like our group sport and rec program we have. So that we've got the one-on-one side and we've got our sport and rec side.
Which leads you into my next question.
Oh, there you go.
Let's talk about Strong Hearts.
Let's do it, man. Yeah.
While we're here. Okay, cool. So run us through Strong Hearts.
Yeah, so Strong Hearts is like our group sport and recreation program. So basically for athletes using the NDIS. So the whole idea is we wanted a place for the athletes as they're leaving. So we call them the athletes, they're NDIS participants. But we wanted a place for the athletes to feel like they were a part of something. We wanted them to feel like they had like a schoolyard kind of feel after they left school. We wanted them to feel like there was still kind of seeing all their friends, a thing to go to attend. Like when we were younger, going to school, you'd go there. What was the number one thing? I'm going to go see all my friends.
No one cares about
the classes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so the whole idea was that the guys had something to go to after they finished school. Now, there's a whole bunch of programs and stuff out there, and it's way better than what it was. But when we first kind of had the idea of it, it was only Team Michael back then. But when I was talking to other the teachers and support workers and stuff back then, some of the programs that were around were like they were being sat down. The participants were being sat down in a big kind of care center and they were given a coloring in book and Shrek was on the TV, right? And that was kind of all they were doing and the guys weren't really moving and grooving as much as they were when they were in school. They'd go to lunchtime and they'd all come back to classes apparently dripping with sweat because they were playing a ball game with their friends, right? So the whole idea was to get more steps while having more fun with our friends and, making friends as though it was like a schoolyard. And so the basis just became, I got to just try and get the guys moving and make sure that they're making friends because when they leave school, a lot of them were, the NDIS wasn't as rampant back then. And so they weren't kind of making as many connections because it'd just be one-to-one care and they might go make friends somewhere else. There wasn't really anything like that.
Yeah.
So we hired out an indoor sports center for some of the guys. We had like 5 of the guys I was training at the gym at the time came along and one that wasn't training with me, he was just from the school. And they just started attending like the indoor sports center just in Bracken Ridge. And it was cool. Like the guys would come in and we were playing sporting games. So we'd be shooting netball hoops and we'd play like Red Rover and we could play soccer and whatever. But it was just anything to just get the guys to like get more steps in the day. And like it's a lot more structured now. Back then it was just kind of like whoever was there, we just want to help them move. And like, let's just play games, right? And it just started becoming this thing of like, hey, if we give this some more structure, like there might really be something here. And so we kind of had this one side where we had one-to-one PT that would be very much specialized. And then the group sport and rec was much more just getting the guys together and having them just move and groove. And just trying to get them to, again, like just make more friends, because a lot of the guys that I was now training at the gym were coming to me at the gym and then they were like sitting at home with iPads. And so the parents, like the best like solution that they had was coming to more kind of active sort of thing. So now it's a little bit bigger than just the first 5 we had, which is really cool. So we run on a Monday and Thursday at 9 till 1. And I think at the moment we probably have about, I want to say 50 or so active participants there, 50, 60. And they all come along with a 1-to-1 support or 1-to-2 support. And they just come in and they're making friends and they're getting steps on. And like, basically we kind of use the hack of like, if you're with your mates and I said to you and your mates, all right, run doggies, run 20-meter doggies up and down this court and keep going until you've hit 5,000 steps. You probably want to invert my nose, right? Like you just don't want to borrow that. But if I added a ball, right?
Red Rover.
Or Red Rover, that's exactly right. Not even a ball. You're probably going to fight, and it becomes a competition, and it becomes you having fun with your friends and you singling out one person because you want to win a game, right? Suddenly you're knocking over thousands of steps, and it's something that the guys sorely need, that they don't really get in their week unless their support worker specifically goes, going to take you for a walk, which sometimes they love. They'll love going for hikes and being out in nature and stuff, but a lot of the guys, they don't. They do, however, love making friends and being social. So getting them to move is a lot easier when I go, all right, guys, see the 2 big hoops? I need you to shoot in that big hoop, and then you got to score in the 3 little hoops, and then you got to go to the other big hoop. That's the only way you can do it. You got to try and score more than your friends. And they're like, score more than my friends, you say, right? And that's it. And they start moving, right? And so suddenly we've gone from I'm shooting a little bit to right now they're moving up and down the court. It's hand-eye coordination. It's like socialization. So many things. So yeah, it's really cool. I'm really, really proud of the program that we've built there, because it's just it's a big solution for so many support workers and parents who are finding it so hard to get their athlete to move. Just get off the iPad, get off the computer, get off their phones. It's been really, really good for us. And I'd love to, the goal for that would be to 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 till 1, 20 participants a day. Just like,
you don't have to come every day. There. You might come 3 days. The other people come the other 3 days.
That's it. Yeah. So like the guys, like we have, there's maybe only 5 that will attend both days. The other 25 are all just different people that only come on the Monday or only come on the Thursday. And 9 to 1's a big amount of time.
Yes, 4 hours.
And 4 hours worth of moving. So like we basically like vary it. So it'll be like we're doing 20 minutes of, essentially high intensity, and then the guys get a drink break. And then we move them into another game, and then we do a drink break or morning tea, and then whatever. We do them in normally like 4 to 6 minute stints. That's it. Yeah, that's like the major like length of time we'll do it. So if we're playing a game of beach volleyball, we crank up the music and we're all right. Whoever has more balls on their side of the end, because it'll be beach volleyball with like actual beach balls, and there's like 10 of them. And then the goal is just there's like 10 on one side and 10 on the other, and there's just beach balls running everywhere. Partially because a lot of the guys were getting bopped in the noggin by real balls, so we made it beach balls, and it's just made it way more crazy.
Safer.
That's right. And we've got blind guys that come in and they attend the program, so a beach ball to the noggin is nowhere near as bad as a falcon from a volleyball. And so we say whichever team has more balls on their side at the end loses. So they get this thing of like, we can't lose. And also like the intensity of every time a ball comes near me, I just got to grab it and throw it. And, we crank up, Frozen will be playing, right? Or a Disney song or like whatever. Yeah. But the guys just go like, and then they just start moving, right? And then it's just 4 minutes of intensity. And then we're like, all right, high five 10 of your buddies, grab some water, come back, we'll do another round.
Yes.
And so it gives them that recovery. And so instead of blasting them for 45 and then they just want to go home.
They'll be cooked after.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so now they'll do, a bit of intensity, and then we have morning tea all together, and they all sit around in the, all amongst the chairs. Yeah, and they're all just sitting and eating together, and they talk about the footy and, whatever. It's a really, really good time, man. It's so much fun. So we got Coach Courtney, Coach Jake, who's been with us since we started in 2018, and Coach Kira, who's been with us a few years now. And Coach Mikey, who's also one of the PTs at the gym, he also comes to help run Strong Hearts. So we've got the 5 of us kind of running that one there, and then we've got Mikey obviously at the gym with myself, Coach Nicola, Coach Britt, all doing the one-to-one stuff, and then we have team manager Sammy running the thing. So it's crazy, man. I never thought I'd actually have like team members, but like here we are. It's
that was one
cool.
of my questions, because I was like, you got a lot going on. It's too much for one person.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Interesting. So tell me more about like the team dynamic. I mean, as much as you want to, like obviously you're, let's say business terms, like you're the founder, the creator, and I guess the boss.
Yeah.
And then the guys underneath you, are you sort of handing them clients like, hey, this is your portfolio?
Yeah.
Or are they their own trainer business?
To a point, yeah. So basically all the guys that run at the gym are already established PTs at the gym, and I have approached them and said, hey, we are kind of getting full. We see how you interact with the guys on the gym floor. We'd love to bring you on board. How would you feel about starting to coach some of our athletes as well as a subcontractor agreement?
Right.
So I pay them on a per session basis.
Yeah.
And we just start forwarding them clientele. So they're in charge of where they want to store them in the week, and like, where they want to have them in the week. They're in charge of like, what their programming looks like. They can obviously bounce things off me if they're unsure. But all the guys are just so good. They're honestly, they're absolute beacons by themselves. So they're brilliant. They just kind of come to me if there's something a little bit unusual, or like, there's a condition that they haven't really dealt with before, and we're forwarding them a new client that has came to us, through our social media or whatever, and we kind of forward them all the details and they go, what's this? Yeah, and if I've had experience, then I'll try and help them out. Or even like the first session, I'll join in. I haven't had to do that in a little bit, but I'll come and join in on like we do like a 2-on-1 session, basically, like me and the other coach, and we just kind of explore things. We explore ranges of motion and like behaviors and stuff, and make sure we're all good to go. But normally, like, our vetting system has gotten better and better over time. So like team manager Sammy, basically the system goes, someone sees us somewhere, they get forwarded to the website contact form, get in touch with us. Sammy chats with them, I chat with them, I have a phone call with them or whatever. All of the invoicing, billing, plans, whatever starts going on in the background with Sammy, and they'll come in for a trial at the gym, and that will be set up with one of the 4 PTs. Yeah. And so it works as like a subcontractor thing where, yes, I'm giving them work, but the work is done very much in their own way, their own flair, their own programming, and on their own time.
Yeah.
And then they just invoice me at the end of each week. I pay them for the sessions that they run.
Yeah. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. So it's nothing too crazy complicated. And then the guys at Strong Hearts, I think that'll be like an employee agreement very, very soon. But it's basically just been a subcontractor thing as well of, they come along to Strong Hearts and I pay them for 4 hours of their time, and they help us operate the program.
Yeah.
But that'll turn into an employee thing, because in reality now that we're more established, it's 4 hours fixed location.
It's almost part-time.
Yeah, kind of fixed roles. Like it changes up a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty established of what we're doing now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's really cool, man. And team manager Sammy is just our umbrella holder, just when paperwork. Yeah. So like I am a bit more of like it's going to be a fucking great idea. And then she's the one like, oh,
you're
really?
The visionary.
I wouldn't say visionary. I'm just the crazy dude that's had like too much caffeine or whatever, right? And then, but yeah, she is very much all right, like here's how we can maybe make that work. And so she is just absolute paramount in the business. So she hates being front facing. So like, yeah, we have our little celebration at the end of the year. And, you know, like I love to just like try and like a little poke there of like, all right, we're going to get Sammy to say something now. And she's just like, oh no, please don't make me say anything. Like she just loves to just be in the background operationally, emails, phone calls, whatever. But she does not like to be front facing, but she just deserves all the love in the world because she's just like dude, she's just absolutely just pivotal in the business. So yeah, super lucky.
Did you ever think like you've come a long way from the special school coming in asking for guidance
and me trying to like push them elsewhere?
Dude. And then now you're like, oh, I've got this initiative and this initiative and this initiative. And there's still another one we haven't spoken about. It is crazy, man. Like I still think it's very much a dice roll. Like I just kind of fell into the role and like, you know, I had, you know, interactions when I was a kid. My cousin Corey lives with autism. And so like I kind of grew up with that a little bit and I didn't quite understand it fully, but like, you know, I did grow up with it and, you know, he's just a part of the family, right? Like, you know, he'll chat away with you and you have a good laugh with him and he'll have a big laugh and, you know, he'll tell you about the Bee Gees and, you know, just, you know, a bunch of stuff and, you know, loves his rugby and whatever. And you just kind of have a chat with him. And there is no time where Corey is left out. My whole family, my Uncle Steve, my Auntie Linda, Josh, Damien, like his brothers, they're so brilliant with Corey. He is just a part of the family. There's no way he's swept under the rug. He is a part of everything the family does, man. And I think I have taken a lot of that. And like when I was growing up, so when I was with the guys, like I wasn't like, all right, I'm going to put you on this and walk away. They were clients of mine. I would try and talk to them about their day and all this stuff. And so I think that just kind of became a little bit of the autopilot feature I had back then was like... It's already ingrained in you.
Man. So I was very, very fortunate. That's kind of how it all fell in. And yeah, it was cool, man. So yeah, I never thought like when I was sitting in that desk that this would be like the way my career would go. I thought I was just the be-all and end-all of coaching. I was so smart. I became a manager. I knew nothing,
classic
bro.
20-year-old
bro.
Process. We've all been there.
Yeah, man. I was a 23-year-old with like all these like 30, 40-year-olds were all like my underlings because I was a fitness director, right? So I was like, I'm the man. Like, no, I knew nothing.
So true.
I knew nothing, man. So, yeah, dude, it's so crazy that it's at this now. Yeah. For sure.
And then we've got another initiative because you're not busy enough. Kiwi Cup, Flying Cup, what is it? Flying Kiwi Formal?
Flying Kiwi Formal. Yeah. So, it's probably the biggest night of our whole year. Long story short is we just wanted somewhere to give the guys an award and recognize them for the hard work they did. So at the Cup, absolutely. The guys get there, they're getting a medal and whatever. But a whole bunch of the athletes, they don't have access. They don't have the capability to utilize a barbell, to do a bench press, do a deadlift or whatever. And so we wanted to have like an awards night. So back then we had a guy named Sam Porter and we're like, oh man, we should have like an awards night. Like that'd be so fun. Get the guys all together, give them, a certificate and be like, congrats. Like you've worked super hard this year and we're really, really proud of you. So give them that sense of achievement and exercise equals happy, right? And he's like, yeah, man, like a prom, like a formal. And I was like, yeah, like a formal. Now, Sam was my first like NDIS subcontractor. And I had only maybe a few months prior, Sammy, this is in 2020, I look after her sister at the gym. And so she was at a gym session. I was telling her about how I couldn't keep up with paperwork and I'm just not a paperwork bloke. And she's like, I'm a paperwork person. Would you like help? And I was like, yeah, sweet. And so, only a few months later, Sam and I were talking about it. Sam Porter. And so, I called Sammy. I was like, hey, we've got this idea of like an awards night, but like a formal. And she's like, oh, okay, when? And I was like, well, we'd need to book a venue. And then the venue ended up being like 7 weeks time. And we were like, oh God, that's like really close. But we ended up following through with it, man. And I think we had like 100 120 or 140
That's a wicked turnout,
people.
man.
Yeah, so we had like, it was like all of our clients, but then it was like all the parents, the support workers. We just did like this open invite to everyone that was all around it. And yeah, like we had like, I think it was maybe like 45 participants, maybe 40 participants back then. And they all came along, and we're at Kedron Waverl in their big room, and we had them all get up on the stage, and each of them got their own time on the stage. The whole idea was that the guys would get up on the stage, each of them would get their certificate, each of them would stand up there with me and Sam, they would get their photo taken, and every single person in the room, we had requested, it's red carpet attire. You have to come along. Talking suit, tie, nice dress or whatever. So that's it. And the whole idea was, if you were going to an awards night for the Broncos, would you turn up in boardies? No, because out of respect for the athletes, everyone goes suit and tie because they respect that athlete, right? That was the whole idea. So everyone came along, they're all dressed up, and some of them just like a shirt, but they still had a tie, and they came along and stuff. And then, and so that was our first form. We just wanted to recognize the guys, right? And then it just became a big dance party afterwards. And last year we had 270 people in the grand ballroom at the Hilton. So
that's big.
it was pretty wild, man. So we had all these people there, and it was this huge night, dude. And all the athletes were there. Each one got their own time on the stage. Everyone there dressed to the nines, photographers running around. We have magicians. We had the people at like the Hilton were serving every table, and like, all the guys have been treated like royalty, man. Like, and then, we've given out all these awards, and then we all have dessert, like we have dinner and dessert there. And then, after all that, we have the major awards. So we have on our shirts, we have strong body, mind, spirit. And we basically have the strong body award, the strong mind, and strong spirit. Strong body being physicality, strong mind being perseverance, determination, and strong spirit being the friend maker, socializer, the Flying Kiwi spirit of we want to be friends and help everyone. And so those are kind of our three major awards that we give out to the athletes. And there is one for male and female for each. So we give out 6 major awards, plus an award for external business and an award for an internal support worker we think has done really well. And then we just recognize all the coaches. And then the quicker we get all that done, the quicker the guys hit the dance party, and that's it. The DJ's cranking, and the guys are just sweating. We're doing the Macarena, we're doing the Nutbush, and the guys just have such a blast, man. And they all just feel so important. And, it's in this big room. They feel so important. They get up on that stage, and, they got 260 something people in the room giving them an applause and like cheering for them. They're up there holding the certificate with all of the people they associate with exercise going, this is what I'm doing. So hopefully in 10 years time, man, they want to keep exercising, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Some people would never experience that ever. Do you know what I mean? Like if you think about your own life, like there's been very few occasions where I've gone on stage and 260 people have applauded for me. Do you know what I mean? Like that's pretty.
Yeah. Okay.
When you think about it, like if you think like, I kind of don't count uni graduation because you just walk up, get your uni. You know what I mean? Like it's not really. Yeah. I didn't even go to mine, but
I didn't even go to uni.
Look at us now.
Yeah, look at us go. Yeah.
Yeah, but when was the last time 250 people clapped for you?
Bro, never.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that's a really feel good moment. That's it's like a wedding and a formal and a party all combined because it's like everybody there. I'm guessing they don't drink.
Some of them do. They can, absolutely. Yeah. Heaps of them are over 18.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not it's within their capacity to drink.
Yeah.
Some of them literally just don't like the taste of alcohol, so they just get high on soft drink.
Get them a cruiser.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's cool, man. And they get to dress up, feel real handsome, feel real beautiful, whatever.
Yeah, man. Yeah, my partner's a professional makeup artist, and so like a lot of the girls approach her, like the parents approach Justine, being like, hey, can we get our makeup done? And so the past couple of years, she's actually been booked out. Like we're talking 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. She's just doing makeup for all of my clients, and they're full paying her to do the makeup and everything.
Well, it's
and then
special for them.
Yeah, and so but that's what I mean. They're getting dressed nice. Last year we had a stretch Hummer
That's cool.
Bro, like, it wasn't ours. Like, the participants and the support workers organized it. So they did a surprise Hummer for the guys to all show up in. So they're out the front of the Hilton all being walked in. Oh, bro.
Yeah, that's cool.
So cool, man. The support workers go all out. Some of them stay at the Hilton.
Is the Hilton the one on, like, the edge of the city where you got to go up the ramp onto the...
No, that's Sheridan, I think. The Hilton.
That's where I had my formal.
Oh, right, yeah, okay, yeah. I had my school formal at the Hilton. That's where I had mine. Yeah. It was a grand time, man. So the Hilton was crazy, man. But yeah, dude, it's came so far since then. So we've got our formal again. The cup is the last weekend of October, and the formal was the last Saturday of October. The formal is the last Saturday of November every year. So this year will be November 30, and this year the Hilton of all places has not renewed their lease. So we don't know if they'll even exist in November. So we were there for 1 year, and the company that has been in the same building since 1982 have gone, I'm out. So I don't know what it'll be then. I think they might be doing refurbs or something. But they were like, look, we can't guarantee we will be able to facilitate your thing. And I was like, oh my God.
Time for a bigger venue.
Yeah. So, well, this year now we're at the convention center. So
even better.
This is going to be insane.
Upstairs where they have weddings?
Yeah, it'll be upstairs in the Plaza Ball. I'm not sure when this will be released, but yeah, we haven't put out the invites yet. But yeah, the Plaza Ballroom. The Plaza mezzanine room.
Is that the one where you have the balcony, look at the Ferris wheel in South Bank and stuff?
Yes.
Bro, that's a good venue.
Yeah. No, that's the tippy top. We are one level below that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it does have a big outdoor area and you can see the thing from there. But I know the one you're talking about, that's like that room was too small. So so the Hilton
popular over here.
Yeah, so the Hilton was 900 square meters. We went from Kedron Wavell was 700 square meters.
Yeah.
The Hilton had a 900 square meter room roughly, and the choice for us was because we basically got too big for the other room, because all these event places are like, we can have 250 people, that's easy. And then I go, well, we actually need wheelchair access in between every single one. We need a larger floor area for dance floor, because the average person at an event will, that's it. Yeah. So chairs, frames, whatever. So we all need all this extra space. And so they were kind of like, oh, maybe we can't facilitate. So we had the choices was basically between the Hilton, which had 900 squares, the City Hall, which was 910 square meters, and the Convention Center, which had a 900 square meter room, and then a 1,500 square meter room, and then the 4,400 square meter room, which is like the big downstairs
we don't do
area.
4.5K.
We don't, not yet, right? Yeah. Give maybe us a few more years.
Maybe 2027.
Yeah. Oh man, even then, it depends on how big those sponsors come along, right? Yeah. I feel like there's just be heaps of void to fill, right? But yeah, that's right. We had all these choices last year, and we ended up going with the Hilton, and it was such a brilliant choice. And the guys really, truly, we went from Kedron Wavell, which was already awesome. The guys did not care where they were, but they felt a sense of like grandeur, right? And then we went to the Hilton, and you see, I'm pretty sure we have a shot somewhere, but basically there's all these photos of all the athletes walking in the room. So Sammy and I stood on the other side of the door with all the coaches, and we gave them all an hour outside, and we served them all hors d'oeuvres and all that stuff, because the guys, they don't pay for the formal either. They come along for free. And so we served all these hors d'oeuvres and like soft drinks and stuff, all in this big wait area where we had there was a little bit of music playing, but there was like a photo area, the photographer, videographer were getting around. Yeah, and that's it. And then we basically opened the doors to the room, and it was just this grand, you had the two huge screens with the logo moving on it, and all the lights were moving, and the DJ was cranking. Cool. And so all the athletes walked in whoa. And I remember I'm standing there with all my coaches and was like, dude, this is so cool. Look at their faces. Yeah. And it was just the best time,
That'd be so fulfilling.
It was the best, bro. It was so good to have them all there, and they all just felt that sense of I'm so important. I feel like a celebrity. And so now when we refer back to it, we'll be at Strong Hearts, and we'll be stretching. And we're like, hey guys, only 19 weeks until the formal, and they go, yeah, and they're all just pumped, man. Like, we've got that sense of they're looking forward to something. They want to be a part of the exercise because they want to be a part of the big stuff at the end of the year, right? They want to do it, man. Like,
yeah, that's
it's
cool.
so cool, bro. So yeah, so convention center this year, because we can't unfortunately use the Hilton, and I'm really excited for it. So hopefully this year, I think we'll be just over the 300 mark of attendees. You should come. You should come November 30.
If I'm allowed
Dude,
to come. I don't know.
suit and tie, brother. Suit and
I'll
tie.
suit up.
Yeah, deal. Yeah, I'll give you a free ticket, mate. Yeah. So we pay for all the athletes to come along because we don't want money to be in the way. And all the support workers and parents and stuff, they all buy their own ticket. Otherwise, it would be bigger expense.
Yeah.
But like it's like, it's hors d'oeuvres at the start, 2-course dinner, like all the entertainment, all the everything.
Yeah.
And we just give it to them for cost price.
That's
so whatever the invoice comes into us at is just what we forward on to each parent. Or support worker. So it's just such a cool time. But yeah, we don't ever want money to come in between the guys and a good time, and that sense of importance. So we tend to give away a few extra tickets to like support workers or parents who we know don't unfortunately have the funding and stuff. Yeah, and they'll always be like, oh, can we like get it out of our funding and give it to them? Like, no, this is not quite that event. It's okay. Like, so we're first time this year, we're actually looking for proper sponsors for the formal and stuff, which would be super cool. We have actually secured one, which is really cool. But it just means that we can just give more to the guys. We want to be able to give them just the best night ever. I'm super pumped for it, man. Like it's going to be such a good time, man. Yeah. 19 weeks and 4 sleeps from now. Be the
19, yeah.
Yep. I'm super. It's Tuesday, 19 weeks. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No, 19 weeks and 4. I was right. Yeah. So I'm super pumped.
There's definitely something in that space that I'll have a think about it. I see people I know and stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely room there to like it's already awesome, but like take the cost away from you where it becomes more sponsor or charity. I'll have a think.
I would love that. Thank you. Yeah. Look, it's an expensive ordeal for sure. Like I 100% get it. And like, there is no part of it that I'm like we're still a for-profit business, man. I still get paid a salary. Sammy, the guys, they all get paid, rather well. I just like, I at no stage do I want people to think like, we just give to like this charity. Like, we're not a charity, I know it looks like it sometimes. And I had a charity at one stage, but the paperwork and the way that people look at you once you have a charity, it's super different, man. Changes? It's crazy.
How does it change?
Well, I had this charity, and I just like when it did come up, like it was a couple of years ago, and it's all kind of turned down now. It's called the Strong Hearts Foundation, but as like a long story short, the volume of paperwork, meetings, coordination of stuff, checks and balances and whatever, that already did my head in. That was already really, really hard to think of. But I think a major thing was I didn't like, there were a few people in the space at the time that did not have the greatest reputation, and the idea of owning a charity but still having like an AMG Mercedes. Yeah. That was what I was seeing out there, and I was like, I don't ever really want to be that guy. And I had been involved in another thing a while back, and that was like, if we have like, if you get a non-profit, man, you can basically like get money and it's tax-free. And then you can like put yourself on like 140K a year and then put your car through and then you can like, and I'm like, I wanted money to get the guys to the Special Olympics. I don't know. I had no need for a car.
There's definitely those people there. And I know, obviously, wouldn't say anything. I know a few companies.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That are like that. And
I don't even know if some of them are around anymore. But, there were a couple of characters that I was like, that's, I had met and I was like, that just seems a bit different. And so I didn't ever want to be that guy. And like, like full transparency, like if I was ever to buy a new car, I was worried that people were like, oh, you got a charity, but you bought a new car, huh? Where'd that money come from?
All your money.
Yeah, that's it. And so like, it just became really, really hard headspace wise. And I think it caused me more stress than what I could give. And so now, like, I just like, if I have a sponsor come in, I'm like, these are all of the advertising rights you will get. Here is what we deliver to you for, being a sponsor of the cup. You will have your logo here, da, 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 da. And it's like literally sponsorship. Like, it's sponsorship money.
They're getting their name.
Yeah, that's it. And so they
or
actually get a proper return out of what they give to us. And so I don't have any guilt. I want to just give as best as I can to every one of those companies because they're helping the guys have a good time. And I love that, man. So we just give as best we can. So we run we've got a sponsor thing that I think that was what you messaged me afterwards was when I posted the video last week. And it's like, I actually feel good about the idea of if we have people say, I would like to be a sponsor, that we will actually deliver on how much we will help put their brand out there and all this stuff. There's actually a return. It's not a charity. There's actually a return to that.
Yeah.
And so I think that helps me feel better. So the idea of a charity was great. And, to get a charity status is apparently really, really difficult. And we're fortunate enough to get one. But honestly, I think the headspace wasn't worth it. We can give the exact same amount to the athletes now.
This way.
And we're probably doing it better. We just can't get the tax write-off from BHP. Them going, here's 50 grand, right? Now we've got to do stuff about it. Which is fine. I think my headspace is much happier about that.
That's right. Yeah. And that's the main thing. You can't help other people if you're in the wrong headspace anyway.
That's it, man. Yeah. You got to, what is it? You put on your own oxygen mask before you help the kid, right? Man. So charities are hard, but we're very, very excited for the formal and the cup and stuff this year, and actually having real brands on board, and the people that reach out about it, it's super cool. Like, man, when they reach out and they want to sponsor, it's not because they go, hey, we have a tax write-off, we can wire you this coin. It's because they believe the same as us,
cool, man.
It's so cool.
When you watch the videos, it's easy to get hooked, sucked into this is fucking cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Is there... So one of your big things is obviously creating safe space, whether it's in the gym or stronger, whatever it is, all the different places. Do you have any advice, recommendations for maybe someone who has a disability and is listening, or maybe a carer or a parent, on how to start that journey? Because it can be a bit scary, right? Even everybody can be a bit intimidated coming into a gym.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So maybe how to start that conversation with their child
participant. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of it comes down to the goal. There's probably so much you could achieve by not even being in a gym. So if it's anxiety driven, getting the guys out for a walk along Sandgate Beach, along Tenerife, right? That could achieve so much for them. But I think it depends on the goal. And then from there, the conversation can start. If the participant is able to have those conversations, starting those conversations with positive connotations. So instead of going, you need to do this, if you get a program from a physio, you got to do this. It's your homework. It's on, it's pushing, right? Whereas a lot of the ways that we tend to have the guys get moving is, you're doing so good. I reckon you're going to be even stronger if you can do this, or you're going to be even faster if you can do this. You're already so fast. Imagine if you were faster. We're trying to take the push and shove of it and trying to be like, hey, I'm trying to pull along with you here. I want you to be awesome too. And so I think that's a big, change around of how you format a lot of the approaches to exercise. A big one I had a fair few years ago was when I realized that a lot of the parents love their kids too much. And that's probably pretty controversial.
I know what you mean.
Right? But they do. A lot of the parents love their child so much, which I do not take away from them, obviously. But it's so much that it's bubble wrap. And it's, I don't think they can do that.
Like helicopter parenting?
Yeah, or I wouldn't say helicopter parenting. I think it's more... they kind of go, oh, no, he won't be able to do that. And it's not because of his fear. It's the parents' fear of something going wrong. And then them going, make sure you're careful when you're at that, or make sure you do blah, blah, blah. And, there are volumes of participants that have came in with us as coaches, other gyms as well. We're not like special, right? But other gyms as well. And they've came in and gone, all right, we're going to do the first few gym sessions. And the parent is right there with us and we're talking to them on the treadmill and mum and dad are like looking at you, making sure. And then they're trying to have a conversation with you at the same time, trying to speak for the athlete, right? After like 6, 10, 12 weeks, the parent goes, I'm just going to sit out front or I'm just going to go grab a coffee or whatever. And they become comfortable with you being with their athlete.
Yeah.
The athlete by that stage is generally pretty comfortable with being with you too, depending on the athlete. Where we usually see the biggest changes is now when mum and dad aren't around or support workers not around. And it's a brand new person and this person that they now trust and they're in a new place, in a new whatever. And now we go, hey, we're going to go do this one. I reckon you're pretty strong. You can do it. And there's no mum going, oh, watch out for that, or mum going, oh, I don't know about that, or whatever, right? It's the same as like when a kid falls over. If you go, oh, no, are you okay? They go, well. Whereas if you go, yeah, come on. Sometimes they won't even cry, right? You can, have you seen the video? It's like this mum and dad, mum has a baby and goes, all right, we're going to do the cry challenge. It was on TikTok or something. It's like, we're going to do the cry challenge. And just goes, oh, baby, oh, you okay?
I've seen that one.
And then the baby goes, oh, right?
Yeah, because they're reacting to you.
Yeah, they're reacting to you. So, I think you get huge amounts of growth when you can get different situation, different people, different time, different environment, right? And a different feel to the whole thing. I think you can really get a great result or really different kind of outcomes by starting to have those things change. And I know a lot of the, if any parents are listening to this, they're probably going to be like, yeah, well, my kid doesn't like change. Fair enough. But you're not going to be able to do anything by just having them sit at home. You're going to have to try something. You might have to try 50 ways, but the 51st might be the one that actually gets them moving and grooving, right?
Yeah.
When was the biggest time you saw, a male over the age of, 32 who was bit more overweight and didn't have that many friends and hated exercise and all that stuff. When did you see them start going, I'm knocking 12,000 steps a day?
Yeah.
When Pokemon Go came out.
Yeah.
Right?
That was a revolution.
Dude, they had tried everything and suddenly that dude was burning 1,500 calories a day because he was walking around catching Pokemon. There's gonna be a mode out there of something. You've unfortunately just got to try everywhere.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, having a coach, not even just us, just going somewhere with a physio that you trust or that a lot of your peers have trusted with your athlete or a PT that physio, whatever it is, but getting them into a different place, a different environment, getting that trust built up and then letting them just go do their thing because you'll be surprised how much that changes. We have so many participants that are doing so much more. We go, yeah, today we were on the rows or we were on the stepper and the parent goes, you did fucking what?
Yeah.
And they didn't even think that was possible, but that was it was the progression from them doing, they were doing step-ups before and we just made more step-ups over here. The athlete didn't care, but then after the fact, the athlete's like, yeah, I did fucking do that, didn't I? Right?
Yeah. Man, he's taken all the thought process out, all the fear,
dude.
all the
And when they're with the coach, the coach is, it might. I saw this great real estate sign, and it was it may be your first time buying a house. It is not ours. You'll be okay with us, right? And that sentiment of they have done this 1,000 times. That sense of confidence when you're with a PT or whatever, they go, come on, no, you'll be fine. I know you've got this. Right? That sense that you give your clientele when they're trying something new. It's the same deal. The guys do get that on some sort of fundamental level eventually. They know to trust you and, they can maybe try different things. And if they don't like it, again, regression to progression to get to wherever they need to be, right? But I definitely think if you're trying to get your athlete to move, a great way to do it is to just put them in a brand new environment if you can, or try and get them to introduce to different people or whatever. But you'd be surprised how much the guys are actually able to do when you are feeling comfortable about them doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, perfect.
So that'd probably be my take on it anyway.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, final 3 questions. The same questions for everybody.
Oh, okay, I'm excited.
Now, will you go to prom with me? No. Will you go to Flying Kiwi formal with it?
We'll get a photo together. You can share it on your.
Don't worry about your missus.
Sounds perfect. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
No, so the first one is tough one.
Okay.
What do you reckon has been your highlight so far of your career working with like NDIS athletes?
The number one highlight. So I still very much like to run my life on happiness per hour points. What makes me the happiest? And so probably the two biggest probably would have been last year's Flying Kiwi Cup and last year's Flying Kiwi Formal. The cup being seeing the guys achieve in front of people they had never seen before in their life, like, volumes of just people that they've never seen, hundreds in them all, cheering them on and them getting their medals and everyone being pumped up. And I'll be honest, like, I get a huge sense of satisfaction. Like, I can be selfish. Yeah. Dude, I feel I feel incredible seeing all those smiles and stuff, man, seeing the guys hit all their lifts because everyone's there cheering, they're lifting better. Like, we get guys that, they've lifted that lift once and like, that's it. Because we never let the guys lift a PB. Right, at the cup, they have to have lifted it at the gym beforehand because we want them to all be safe on the platform. No one needs an injury there, right? Yeah. So they only ever lift stuff they've lifted before. But they'll get up there and one that they've like absolutely ground up. Like we had young Songy came in last year and he was doing a bench. 115 kilos on this guy's on the NDIS, right? 115 kilos on this bench and he had done a one shaky ass rep before. And he got up there and we're like, this is the announcer, this is the last bench of the day. Let's get around Songy. And just 400, there's 115 kilos, 400 people in the ball go, yeah. And Songy gets in there and just goes, boof, and put it up. And poor Mikey didn't realize how quick it was going to, it moved so quick. The spotters and the coach didn't know what to do. So they pulled him like, oh my God. And he just gets up and the roar from the crowd of like, dude.
And it's big weight too.
Dude, yeah. Spine tingling. Big Geordie lift 185 kilo deadlift. Oof. And like, just the roar of the crowd at the time, it just, oh man, makes you, he's just ripping it and you just hear like, all the powerlifters in the crowd are giving the up, and all the people in the crowd are going, whoa. Like, dude, it's just incredible. So, like, I think the comp days are just something else, man. But that's it. And then the formal is just seeing all of the athletes get to have all of their family there because it's not just barbells, it's everyone, right? Little Talitha walking a lap of Chermside is just as much of a progression as Geordie going from his 45 kilo deadlift to his 185, right? Yeah. So everyone getting their awards, their recognition on stage, getting their photos, getting on the dance floor afterwards, having a boogie. Like, man, getting all of that together and all of the parents coming up afterwards like, hey, Michael, like, thank you. Today was just so great. And seeing the athletes there, like their eyes lighting up and seeing everything moving and stuff. Like, dude, all the coaches are getting all the parents of their athletes coming to them and seeing all of that happen, bro, it's second to none, man. And getting to the end of the formal, everyone goes to the dance floor now and it starts DJ Eddie, he's been at every one of our events. DJ Eddie's just cranking the tunes. Everyone's having a boogie. We've got our blind athletes there and they're just stepping over. They're sweating from dancing and having so much of a good time, right? And me and Sammy get to just stand back and we go, oh my God, it's done.
Mum and dad in the corner.
We did it. Oh my God. Like, I feel like a kid's 5th birthday party went off without a hitch, right? So Sammy and I stand back and we go, holy shit, we did it. Look at all that. And there's balloons and magicians and like everything. And so that feeling, again, it's just like this other level of like satisfaction of, man, all these athletes now are all going, man, I love exercise. Because this is exercise. If I exercise, all these people applaud me and I get this thing, I feel so good. So like, it's that sense of we're doing something so good for them. And man, it's a party. It's great to see everyone, man.
Do you think for some of them, that's probably like the best day of their like year or life? I mean, it's a big statement, but like...
Yeah, I don't want to say it is, but I get a fair amount of support workers that are like, bro, there's like 49 weeks for the next form, and my kids are already talking about this bloody form. And so they talk about it all year long. And I love it at Strong Hearts when we've got like a really big crowd and we're just stretching. I think I said it before. I was like, hey guys, only 30 weeks to the formal.
Yeah.
It's more than 6 months away, but they all go, yeah! Like they're super pumped, man.
Lot,
so that's it. And I mean, like even some of the support workers be like, man, my formal wasn't this big.
Yeah, that's what I mean. These are big events, bro.
Yeah, so it's cool, man. Yeah, so I can maybe err on the side of, this might be a very large event for a lot of them.
Yeah. It's pretty iconic.
It's cool, man. And we now have some other NDIS providers that change the date of their events because they know the Flying Kiwi form was the last Saturday. Yeah, or maybe not compete, but like some of them come. They're coming to ours now. So it's super cool, man. That's cool. It is the best time, bro. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I love it.
Next question is, what's a piece of advice that's been given to you that's really stuck with you?
Ooh.
Any format of life, not just work related.
Don't eat yellow snow. Man, I guess it's like growing up, like there was no time when like my parents ever gave it to me, like ever actually like said the words. But my parents always had this thing of there's always a spare bedroom. The door's always open, there's always a spare bedroom. And it was basically like the sentiment of like whenever I was growing up, like if someone had flat tire or whatever, my dad would get the call, he'd go around, help them out, we need to move that. They were like, yeah, mate, we'll be there, whatever. And, my parents divorced when I was young and stuff, but no matter what happened for my sister and I, even, after they broke up and whatever, if there was a transition between the houses, mum and dad always said, we've just got to do what's best for the kids. And then following on from that, as I grew up, I realized that my parents had always essentially, without really saying it, had always lived by this thing of like, if you have the capacity to help someone, like you do it. Yeah. Like I know that if I called my dad in New Zealand right now and I had some mate, because I grew up in New Zealand and moved here when I was 16, if I had some mate that I have known for ages and he was down and out, had been kicked out of a house or had done whatever, I know that if I call my dad at 2 a.m. I went, Dad, my mate needs a place to crash. He's going to be there in 10 minutes. I guarantee you before I finish that phone call, my dad would already be up making a bib like, yeah, mate, how long is he staying? What does he need? Right? Yeah. The door's always open. If I called my mum right now and said, my friend's broken down, I really need you to go help them because I'm stuck wherever. She'd be like, all right, send me the address. Like, they've always been like that. So I've been super, super fortunate. Even my stepmom and my stepdad, same deal. Someone needs a hand moving. They were never the people that were like, oh, like I happen to be busy. They would alter their own plans because someone said, hey, I need a hand. Yeah. My parents would always, and I fucking love my parents for it because genuinely, like they have always been like that. My mum, my dad, like ever since I was young, like I always saw them put out as much as they could for all of their friends, anyone they knew. If there was some way that they could help, they would always do it. So I that's unspoken advice, but just something I think I observed over the course of my life. My parents
see it
were
by
so
them doing it.
Yeah, that's it. And so like I was never a troublemaker. If anyone was ever, I think I was a little more emotional when I was a kid because like I would always see anyone that would be in a hard way and I'd kind of be like, I guess so. And so like that's probably helped me out as well. But yeah, like I think that came from my parents of like, man, like, you're going to give them a hand. You know what I mean? Like you always try and help. And so like I didn't come across as that when I was younger, but I guess that's the image I have of my parents. Is that whenever someone needed a hand, like, we need a hand building this or stripping this or doing this around the house. My dad, handyman guy, mechanic guy, that typical like bloke. And he was always like, yeah, mate, what do you need? Like, let's go. He'd pull whatever tools he needed, he'd give the tools away or whatever. Like dad was always that guy. And then anyone needed a hand with anything, the door's always open for my mum. Like, yeah. So they were always like that. And I think I'm super fortunate that was the environment I grew up in. Even now, my partner and I, fortunately, we've bought our own place. We have a 4-bedroom place, and we're only going to have one housemate. I know who to
call when I get kicked out.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I'll move to Northside.
How long you staying? Yeah. So I even my partner is very much the same. She just loves if someone needs a hand. Babe, I'm helping this person. Are you coming? Yep.
Yeah.
Let's go. So I guess unspoken advice, but that's definitely probably something I have realized as I've gotten on. I'm only 32, but as long as I've gotten on in my life, I feel like I'm 17 and all these adults keep on giving me responsibilities.
We're adults,
but
now.
I know, right? Yeah, geez. That's probably one of the major things. If you got the capacity to help, you do it. I feel like there's almost this roundabout bit of karma. I had really, really bad OCD as a kid and saw psychologists and stuff for it. Diagnosed with it and everything. Never had to do any meds and stuff, but it was pretty bad. And there was almost this one point there where like, if I didn't do blah, bad blah would happen. And so like, I think it almost got negatively screwed into me for a little bit there. But I think for the most part, it was learned a lot from my parents of just like, they were always there to help. Yeah. Always.
My parents were the same. I had 2 separate people from school, like in my grade, live with us at like 2 separate times.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then we had a family live with us for a bit.
Yeah.
But they never said it. You see it. You learn.
Yeah, that's
right?
it. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right, last one.
All right.
What's in the future for Mr. Adams? What's the next big project? How many more initiatives are we going to start?
Well, there's not initiatives, right? They're just events that we run.
Yeah.
So you forgot about the talent show. That's a great time.
I didn't see the talent show.
Yeah, so we run a talent show
every year.
Didn't do my research
well.
No, that's all right. We haven't posted. We posted all the photos, but we haven't got a video out this year for it. So, but yeah, we run a talent show already. That's pretty cool. So all the guys are Strong Hearts. Basically, they all love, like at lunchtime, we have music playing, and they all love getting in the middle of the little arena there, and just like air guitar and singing and dancing and whatever. And so we ran a talent show because we're like, all the guys like doing that. And then now that's another big event we have. So we have our cup. We don't do initiatives. We just have programs. Yeah. So we've got our cup early year on the Gold Coast, talent show, middle of the year, which happened like a few weeks ago. And then we have our second cup, which is Brisbane City, and then the formal. Yeah. And I honestly, I don't think we could run any more like big events like we do. But I guess like major things, like we had talked about a course and stuff, and I think that could be cool to do. But like there's a lot of headspace for me to work out from that, because at what stage do I do, you become a Flying Kiwi trainer. Franchise, right? Or Flying Kiwi trainer, but a satellite trainer, right? At what stage do we do that? Or at what stage do we just go, hey, here is everything I know bundled up into a course, and here's some CCs for it? I don't know. But that's an idea of like, the whole idea again is like, if we are currently delivering those 70 points out into the world, at what stage do we try and, multiply what we're doing to an online sense where, that the athlete that approaches us in Sydney and in Melbourne and on the south side and all that, we don't have anything there. We get asked a lot, and we just don't have anything there. But like, I just don't know how to expand my brain that far to, hey, we have satellite areas where we can look after you. And there's a couple of companies out there that are looking after, like there's one out there, they're looking after 2,000 suburbs. Do you know how obscene that sounds to me? 2,000 suburbs? Are you kidding me? Like, that's just, it's absurd. So I don't know how to multiply the Flying Kiwi brand, I guess, that far. It's something I need to learn. Yeah. And probably
something you want to do you think?
And see, that's the thing. I don't know. I love small team, and like, honestly, I get home at 6 p.m. on a Friday after training arms with my friends, and we come home, my partner's home, and we sit down, and I just switch off, bro. Yeah. Like, I switch off. I sit down, and we sit down. We have it's called burger night, and we have burger night together, and we just veg out, man. If I got to the stage where we had 2,000 suburbs, bruh, my phone would just ding,
Poor
ding.
Sammy, the office girl.
Yeah, man. Sammy would have a team and stuff, right? But I still wouldn't switch off, right? Whereas at the end of each week, we all work Monday through Friday, None of us work weekends. We all just switch off.
Yeah.
At the stage where you have this multiplication of team across multiple states and stuff, there's a lot more that goes into that, man. It's super hard. So I don't know if that's in the cards, if like having a gym is in the cards of our own, because the overhead of that is already huge, and we don't really run with very large margins. So after running the cup, after running the formal, after, you know, what we give to our coaches and all that sort of stuff, like there's not really that much left in it. Like, so running a gym sounds amazing, but we just need to be a lot bigger. I think the last lot of numbers that I ran, we probably need to be about double the size in order to have our own gym. And that's a lot, man. So a gym, maybe. But like, honestly, the biggest thing is like, how do we help more athletes have more fun? That's it. Like, it's pretty simple. We want to help more athletes live healthier, stronger, longer, more confident lives. And more recently, I've been doing more speaking stuff, which has been fun. Like, I've been asked to go speak at a few events and networking events and stuff. And people love what we do. And they're like, where's your thing on the south side? And we're like, we don't have one. But being able to educate them on, if you run on that treadmill, you're not burning off brekkie. Like, teaching that sort of stuff. I love teaching and speaking and things. So maybe that's an idea. But yeah, again, it's just how do we help more athletes and, you know, live that healthier, stronger, longer, more confident life, and how do we have them associate exercise with happiness? Yeah, that's probably going to be the North Star. As things come in, I can kind of run it through this filter, and if it doesn't pop out the bottom, then, you know, we can get rid of it. So that's probably the next thing. The big next thing is just going to be, how do we just take over the world? Like, I want every athlete in Australia to lose all the weight they need to live a longer life. How do we do that? You know, how do we help more athletes access more gym stuff without it having to come out of their pocket? How do we do that? That's just way too big to answer for, like,
that's a government problem.
Yeah, that's right. NDIS is already being drained pretty hard. So yeah, man, I don't know. I guess it's just help more athletes, bro. That's what we want, man. And you know, expand the team, help more athletes, and make sure as we expand the team, we don't skimp on quality. Yeah. That'd be the major thing. So
has anyone ever said to you, when you talk about this, when you get really animated, you give big Steve Irwin vibes?
Steve Irwin?
Yeah.
Really? As
a compliment.
Thank you.
Like, you know, when he's like, look at this beauty right here. This is a fucking python. That's like what you get like. And you're like, because I was like, this whole time, I'm like, I'm getting big Steve Irwin vibes. And then I was like, no, maybe it's just that one sentence. And then 5 minutes later, it'd be again. And I'm like, oh, man, it's...
Holy shit. That's so nice of you. Thank you. Oh, my God. I've never heard that.
You're welcome.
Holy shit. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Holy shit.
Thank you for coming in today, man. It's been bloody inspirational.
Thank you.
I love all the work that you do. I hope you keep doing it. I hope you improve happiness points across the world.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your story, man. I really appreciate it.
Dude, thank you for having me, man. I didn't realize how long we've been
I know, we've been going for a while.
Dude, I'm so sorry to listeners that this has taken a while. My bad, guys. Sorry.
No, it's been a pleasure, and I've loved every minute of it, man.
Thanks so much for having me, dude. Appreciate it.